For the record, the only player we saw not standing was the cornerback Marcus Peters of Kansas City. All right, patrolling the sidelines once again. Let's go down on the field and Michelle Tafoya. Michelle.
Well, Al, it was August 25th during their respective preseason games that both Kansas City and New England suffered major offensive losses. Spencer Ware, the leading rusher for Kansas City, and Julian Edelman, the top receiver for the Patriots, both suffered season-ending knee injuries. So tonight, the Chiefs will start rookie running back Kareem Hunt, who told me, "I've been an underdog my whole life, but this proves they trust me. I've been playing since I was 7 years old. I can't make this bigger than what it is." As for the Patriots, despite the loss of Edelman, they appeared to have depth at that position, having traded for two-time 1,000-yard receiver Brandon Cooks, and then late last week, former first-rounder Philip Dorsett. But just hours ago, Al, Malcolm Mitchell was put on injured reserve, bringing the number of healthy wide receivers for the Patriots down to 4.
All right, thank you, Michelle. One of the storylines tonight, of course, is Roger Goodell, who announced a long time ago that he would come to this game, and he was actually at a preseason game as well. Not New England's favorite son, following the Brady suspension last year, but he is in attendance tonight for the season opener, the first of 256 regular season games, and then 11 postseason games, including the Super Bowl in early February. That is Carlos Santos, a Brazilian, who will kick off. Kansas City won the toss, and they have deferred. Dion Lewis back to receive. Pyro going off at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, about a 45-minute drive south of Boston. And we are ready to get the season underway. And Santos puts it in the air at the 1-yard line. This is Dion Lewis. Out past the 20. Lewis takes it to the 27-yard line. Let's take a look at the New England offense.
Tom Brady, Michigan.
Dion Lewis, Pitt.
Brandon Cooks, Oregon State.
Chris Hogan, Penn State Lacrosse.
Danny Amendola, Texas Tech.
Rob Gronkowski, Arizona.
Nate Solder, Colorado.
Joe Tooney, North Carolina State.
David Andrews, Georgia.
Shaq Mason, Georgia Tech.
Marcus Cannon, Texas Christian University.
Great offensive line. They keep Tom Brady clean. They start with Rex Burkhead in the backfield. They swing him out, and Brady looks downfield, down the sideline, and getting free, but off the fingertips of Dwayne Allen, a tight end who was brought in from Indianapolis, spent 5 years with the Colts. So Brady goes deep on the first offensive play, but a little bit too high for Allen to haul in.
You're going to see a swing route out of Allen. They're in man coverage on the outside zone underneath, had it wide open, and maybe just early season nerves, but unable to hit the wide open Dwayne Allen. That's a big miss.
Rex Burkhead, one of the pickups in the offseason, the running back, had been with the Bengals. Fake to him. Brady, outlet pass to Burkhead, and Burkhead picks up close to 9 yards. It'll be 3rd and short. Tom Brady took over in 2001 when Drew Bledsoe got hurt. He's 12-2 in season openers. That includes one against Kansas City back in 2008, where he lasted less than half a quarter. Tore up his knee thanks to a hit from Bernard Pollard and missed the entire season, but did get credit for the win as he was the starting pitcher. James White is now in the backfield. Super Bowl hero. 3rd down and 2 from the 35-yard line. And they give it to White. And White picking up where he left off in Houston in the Super Bowl when he scored the game-winning touchdown in overtime and had 20 points in the game, 3 TDs and a 2-point conversion. And now the Patriots will go no huddle.
Right here, Shaq Mason going to get that turnout to lead him right up the middle, and here they go, wasting no time after that first down.
Varying the pace right off the bat. Once again, this is White. Claws his way through the middle. Picks up about 3 yards. It'll be 2nd down. Make it 4. 2nd and 6. Josh McDaniels, the offensive coordinator, had been here. Went to Denver as the head coach. Then to St. Louis, and then came back for 5 years now. Brady emptying the backfield on a 2nd down and 7. They split James White wide to the left Brady kept clean, throws downfield into traffic, and Brandon Cooks makes his first catch as a Patriot. Came over, as Michelle said, from New Orleans, got position on Philip Gaines' first down.
And Philip Gaines, number 23, is going to have to take over the slot position tonight for Steven Nelson. Ordinarily, he plays outside. And, of course, when you have the great speed like Cooks, that plays easier.
Here goes White. White takes it to the 30-yard line. Almost reminiscent in a way of that overtime drive in the Super Bowl. Down the field they went and came home with the Lombardi Trophy. 2nd down and 5. And again, going without a huddle. White split wide right this time.
Man coverage everywhere.
Pressure put on. They get to Brady, but not before he gets it off to Amendola. And Danny Amendola has a first down at the 15-yard line.
D Ford was barely nicked coming off the edge by Solder, and he still couldn't get out there. They're going right after Philip Gaines in that slot, and he has not looked good so far.
Ford putting the heat on. He was their leading sacker last year. He had 10. Now the fake. Time again for Brady, and then he throws it incomplete, but a flag comes in. That's Terrence Mitchell covering Brandon Cooks on the play. So Bill Vinovich is the referee tonight. We'll get our first call of the season.
Pass interference. Defense number 39. Spot foul. Automatic first down.
You're allowed to engage for about 5 yards, then you have to get your hands off, and especially with the ball in the air. So this is a remade secondary because of the injury to Nelson, and so far it's been challenging.
So 1st down and goal. New England starting the season 3 runs, 4 passes. Bring in their goal line offense here. Gillislee and Devlin. Devlin is the fullback. Gillislee came over from Buffalo from the 2. And his first carry as a Patriot is a touchdown. But a flag is down. Flag down at the 1-yard line.
Holding. Offense number 77. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Left tackle Nate Solders will take away the touchdown. It'll still be 1st and goal.
Solder on the outside here, playing basically the tight end position. And just as you see Houston start to pull away, grab the jersey, maybe get away with that inside, but not on the edge.
Play first down.
First penalty of the season cost New England a touchdown, at least for the moment. Putting the ball at the 2, 1st and goal, and off the play fake, Brady throws too high and incomplete. Gronkowski was covered. It'll be 2nd down and goal. You know, there was an offsetting penalty is why they put the ball that close to the goal line. So originally the 10-yard call against Solder, but an offsetting penalty, which we didn't hear Vinovich announce, and that's why you have the 1st and goal, now a 2nd and goal from the 2-yard line. Gillislee again carries it this time, and there is an official touchdown. The New England Patriots opening drive, 9 plays, 73 yards.
O'Tooney right there with a tough reach block inside, able to make that block, and you were wondering maybe LeGarrette Blount and his 18 touchdowns he scored, who's going to get those goal line carries. People speculated it would be Gillislee, and it looks that way.
Less than 3 minutes into the season, the Patriots overwhelming favorites everywhere you look to win it all again and pick right up where they left off in the Super Bowl. Gostkowski for the extra point. And just like that, the New England Patriots take the lead on opening night, 7-0 over the Chiefs. There is an iconic offensive line coach, Dante Scarnecchia. He's been here through several regimes. Retired a couple of years ago, came back, and what a difference he made with that offensive line last year, Chris.
Former Marine, can you tell? Just the way he's talking to them over there on the bench. But there is no ambiguity at all when he's talking. This is the way you do it, and the only way you do it.
Gostkowski's kick sails through the end zone. Chiefs take over the 25, and let's take a look at their starters.
Alex Smith, University of Utah.
Kareem Hunt, Toledo.
Anthony Sherman, UConn.
Ty Hill, Pearson, Georgia.
Chris Conley, Georgia.
Travis Kelsey, Cleveland Heights, Ohio. Eric Fisher, Central Michigan.
Ryan Witzman, South Dakota State.
Mitch Morse, Missouri.
Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, McGill University. Mitchell Schwartz, Cal.
Alex Smith, the #1 overall pick in the draft 13 years ago in San Francisco. Eric Fisher, the #1 overall pick in 2013. They start from the 25 with 3 tight ends in this alignment. Smith, who gets rid of the ball in a hurry, hands the ball off to Kareem Hunt, and his first carry as a pro is a fumble, something he never did in college. The Patriots think they have it. Wait for the officials here. Here's Vinovich.
That ball is out.
It is out. It is amazing. In 4 years at Toledo, he never lost a fumble. He fumbled once, recovered it himself, and on his opening carry as a pro, what do you get?
You get welcome to the NFL. In college, they tackle you. In the NFL, they know how to tackle you and do that. And that just could not have been a worse way for this team to start the season. They're without their back, Spencer Ware. They give the young rookie a shot, and right off the bat, they have problems.
There it is. The graphic telling you 1 fumble, 856 career touches, carries, and receptions. And can you believe it? Trying to shake that off. You know, that defense trying to shake off the way they performed on the opening drive. Start from the 32-yard line. Brady from the gun. Look at the job that line does, and the pass is too high for Gronkowski. Crowd wants a flag, won't get it. Covered by Eric Berry, the great safety. 2nd and 10.
Probably the greatest improvement I've seen on this Patriots team. This guy right here, Marcus Cannon. What a great job he did in the Super Bowl this past season, but the entire year. And Dante Scarnecchia, I think, had a major impact on him. They had always seen the talent. They knew exactly what he had, but it took Scarnecchia to unleash it. And a season ago, he really became their best offensive lineman.
Brady again. 5 receivers, the empty backfield. Can Kansas City get any pressure on him? This time he gets it away, caught, taken down to the 29-yard line is White. Ron Parker makes the tackle. Gain of 3, 3rd down and 7.
Yeah, one of the things they like about their backs this year is they feel like that all of them can be 3-down backs. And so when they're in the no huddle, and you see Bob Sutton here trying to figure out exactly what all the things Patriots are throwing at them. So when they get in the no huddle, though, they don't need to substitute these backs.
3rd and 7. And it's a draw. And picking up the first down is James White. Just come at you so many ways to the 24-yard line, 1st down, New England.
It's just a great double team inside. Watch how well orchestrated. These two get this guy and then Shaq Mason up to the next level. And there's your hole, perfectly timed, so disciplined. And how about James White, man? He just continues to impress. He blew everybody away in the Super Bowl.
From the 24. Sutton a long time with the Jets, so he's seen Brady too much. 26 times in his career.
Derek Johnson, man coverage on the outside.
Again, Brady protected beautifully, and Gronkowski had a spin around, and again he looks for a flag. Berry covering on the play, doesn't get one. 2nd down and 10.
Good matchup inside, obviously, between two great all-pros right there. Eric Berry going against Gronkowski. Just haven't quite timed it out yet. On the other side, it looked like Rex Burkhead was going to go by Derek Johnson, but Brady decided to go to Rob Gronkowski, and why not?
Gronkowski off injured the last few years, healthy as we start this season. Burkhead is the running back on 2nd down and 10. And a toss to him. Soldier lays down a block, but then Burkhardt gets enveloped at the 20-yard line. Benny Logan, who comes over from Philadelphia after Dontari Poe left for Atlanta, makes the tackle. 3rd and 11.
Derek Johnson's going to come shooting through right here and just break this thing up. He saw what was coming and just goes and takes on all the tacklers and takes those guys out, or the blockers, and takes them out immediately. That was Eric Berry and company coming to make the play.
3rd and 11. 5 minutes into the game. Pats on top 7-0. And you're going to get a free play here for Brady, and it is caught by Gronkowski for a touchdown. Dee Ford came across the line. Brady knew he had a free play. Gronkowski covered well, but he threads the needle. The big spike, and a 2-touchdown lead for the Champs.
Touchdown.
Tom Brady got the free play. Watch this catch. I mean, that's sick. That big son of a gun going down. How do you guard that? I have no idea. You can't have much better coverage. Let's see, did it come out? I didn't see it roll out.
All scoring plays are reviewed. Did it hit the ground?
Oh, that one may have.
Yep. Well, all the calls this year, you've read about it, heard about it, made from New York.
That was a heck of an effort by Terrence Mitchell to strip that ball out of there. I think that's going to end up ruled incomplete.
I do too.
The previous play is under review.
So they bring the tablet out. Vinovich will take a look. We'll have an official review. All the calls made from Park Avenue in New York. Vinovich looking at it. We think it'll be overturned because it's very clear that the ground helps Gronkowski control it. If it gets overturned, it's going to be 4th down, and they'll bring in the field goal unit. Here it is again. Call on the field is a touchdown. We think it gets overturned. Vinovich will have the official accounting of it right now.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field is reversed. The ball hit the ground. It is an incomplete pass. However, there was an offside penalty. It'll be 5 yards from the 20-yard line. Repeat, 3rd down.
There you go. So instead of 4th down because of the penalty, now they can accept the penalty after the incomplete pass. So Dee Ford cost them 5 yards. They get the down back, so it'll be 3rd down and 6 at the 15-yard line.
The Chiefs have been playing a lot of man coverage, but down here in the red zone, most of the time they'll rush 3 and drop back 8 and just try and clog up the middle so you don't get those easy quick throws over the middle that Tom Brady and company love so much.
So the Patriots have already had 2 touchdowns called back. One by Gillislee. He eventually did get into the end zone, and now this one. So let's see what Brady and company come up with on the 3rd down and 6 with 9:49 left in the opening quarter. Ball not yet signaled ready for play, and now it is. Brady in the pocket over the middle. That's Amendola. He's going to be stopped just short with a naked eye by Ron Parker. And New England's going to come up to the line without a huddle. And now Vinovich signals that it's an official's timeout for a measurement. So New England was going to run the play anyway on a 4th down if they could have gotten there, and they'd signaled it ready for play, but they did not. And they will check it.
Of course, Julian Edelman out with the injury now. There's Danny Amendola is going to make the catch like Edelman would, and I agree with the call. I thought the ball was in the left hand and came up just short.
Yeah, they got it exactly right, and I think Brady knew it because he got him to the line. They were going to run it on 4th down anyway.
Yeah, and it hurt Tom Brady. I mean, that's what they do best. They come up and your defense is still unsettled, and the guys are signaling 4th down on Kansas City and celebrating the moment. And Josh McDaniels and company and Tom Brady, they were ready to run a play. They were going for it all the way.
They'll probably go for it anyway here. Change some personnel. 4th down and half a yard.
Well, we all know what this is. This is Tom Brady territory, or at least it typically is. Maybe not now that he's 40 years old. I don't know. But we talked to Derek Johnson about it a little bit, and he said, oh, yeah, we'll be having people all over the A-gap here getting ready for him.
91% of the time during his career, he has converted on a 3rd or 4th and 1. Solder is eligible on the play. The tackle number 77. And let's see what Brady runs here. You've got Gillislee as the back. And they give it to him. And Kansas City is right there and appears to have stopped him. And that's Eric Berry, the safety, who comes up. And that is a huge stop for the Chiefs. So Kansas City stops him. They get the ball. It's still 7-zip. A graphic here. Bill Belichick, 237 regular season wins, 4th most all time. Andy Reid, 173. Now in his 19th season as a head coach, tied for 10th. So a primo matchup of coaches. First week 1 meeting of coaches in the top 10 all time since 1988, when Dallas met Pittsburgh, and it was Tom Landry on one sideline, Chuck Noll on the other.
You know, Al, this could have easily been a blowout already here for the Kansas City Chiefs. Now they need to get something going here just to give their defense a little bit of a break.
From the 10-yard line, New England's run 16 plays, and this is Kansas City's 2nd. And they give the ball to Hunt, who fumbled on his first carry, and he takes it out to the 19-yard line. And what a play by Eric Berry to stop what would have been a first down.
Yeah, you'll see him just scraping right into the hole here as the defensive linemen all go down, just perfectly timed. And it's almost like a running back going the other way. You see the hole and you just assume that Gillislee is going to end up in that same hole. And great play by the All-Pro.
Now take a look at this. Already you've got a trick play coming, because taking the snap here is going to be the tight end Travis Kelce, and then he fakes it and takes it out to the 23-yard line. So on a 2nd down and 1, they have Kelce, the tight end, lining up in the backfield, pick up the first down.
Yeah. If he would have turned around and handed it to Alex Smith, I think everybody would have been surprised. Kelce, a former quarterback back in the day in high school, and they were going to try and get it outside to Tyreek Hill, the speedster, but well defensed. Not too many times do you fool Matt Patricia's defense.
Kelce trying to run the option. Hill was covered, couldn't get it to him. Now you've got trips to the right. On a first down from the 23-yard line, Smith, who normally gets rid of the ball in a big hurry, throws, caught underneath, and this is Tyreek Hill. A spectacular rookie season last year. Runs back kicks, runs back punts, lines up in the backfield, lines up as a wideout.
All the way across the formation, and there just isn't anybody in the league that when he takes off looks like that young man. In high school, he ran so fast. It was the 2nd fastest 200-meter time of all time. In high school, it would have finished 6th at the Olympics in London that year. Amazing.
3 tight ends here. On a first down, Smith out of the pocket, throws along the sideline, and that's caught by the number 2 tight end, Demetrius Harris. Let's take a look at the New England defense.
Lawrence Scott, ASU.
Alan Branch, University of Michigan.
Malcolm Brown, Texas.
Trey Flowers, Arkansas.
Dante Hightower, the University of Alabama.
Dave Harris, Michigan.
Kyle Van Noy, Brigham.
Malcolm Butler, West Alabama.
Patrick Chung, Oregon Ducks.
Devin McCourty, RU.
Stephon Gilmore, South Carolina.
Malcolm Butler living, of course, forever in New England lore with the interception in the Super Bowl 49. Pass underneath, that's going to result in a first down. Kareem Hunt makes the catch. A little shoving there with Malcolm Butler. Matt Patricia, the defensive coordinator. And, you know, you think with all the success they've had, you would lose McDaniels and/or Patricia. Both were interviewed for head coaching jobs, but both back with Belichick.
A rocket scientist and a guy that had the #1 scoring defense in the NFL a season ago. I bet you not many people would have known that.
Right, only 15 points a game given up by the Patriots. 6.5 to go in the quarter. Kansas City has moved from its 10-yard line. They give it again to Hunt, and Hunt with some power, very close to a first down. So he's able to shake off that early fumble, and looking good on his last couple of carries.
Here we go. Schwartz on the outside working against Hightower, getting him out of there, but it was a great block inside by Mitch Morse. They had the double team going, threw him out of the way. But here's the most impressive part. You see Kareem Hunt come in, he fumbles the football on his first play, but now you can tell he's back into the game, and you're seeing some of the power and the elusiveness that made him such a factor in college football.
2nd and inches. Line Hill up in the backfield this time. And a little shovel after the fake to Hill, and that results in a first down. Albert Wilson makes the catch there. Alex Smith, of course, in San Francisco for a lot of years, #1 overall pick by the 49ers, and then lost his job when he got hurt in 2012 to Colin Kaepernick, and they wound up going to the Super Bowl. Then when Andy Reid comes to Kansas City from Philadelphia, he had his eyes set on Smith, and the two together now for the 5th season.
And now Patrick Mahomes, they move up in the draft to get him, and all the speculation is this will be Alex Smith's last year, and he's fired up and ready to go.
High snap, but he's able to one-hand it and fires over the middle for a first down. Tyreek Hill. So Kansas City on the verge of an early blowout, make a 4th down stop, and now a real good drive here as they've moved 64 yards in 8 plays.
And Tyreek Hill is lining up everywhere. Here he is lined up in the backfield, which is not unusual for him. He's been a running back his entire life. He's trying to learn how to play wide receiver, and so great job there by Alex Smith just handling the snap.
Hunt in the backfield now. Hill gets repositioned on the left side.
Stephon Gilmore, the new corner that came over from Buffalo, on him.
Smith looks the other way, then over the middle, and that is caught by Chris Conley. And he'll take the ball inside the 10-yard line, run down by Malcolm Butler, and that's going to set up what should be a 1st and goal.
They're hurting him with some crossing action over the ball here now. They're just running the outside receivers, and all of them are just crisscrossing, and they're popping some players open, and it has been a problem so far for this Patriot defense.
Andy Reid calls his own plays. Patricia sends in the defense. 1st and goal from the 9-yard line. 3 tight ends set for Kansas City. Kelsey on a wing. Smith looks that way. Nothing there. And Alex will just take the ball and throw it away. Chased by Trey Flowers, who comes off a big Super Bowl performance. It'll be 2nd and goal.
Yeah, and the pressure by Trey Flowers there probably saved the Patriots. It looked like Kelsey was going to be open on the little slant route inside, but Alex Smith unable to stay with him.
Chiefs 3rd from last in the red zone last year, and 3rd from last in goal-to-go situations. So they need a big improvement, obviously, in that area. And here they are on the 2nd down and goal from the 9-yard line. Smith handing the ball off. Again, it's the rookie, Kareem Hunt. Michelle talked about it at the top of the show. Spencer Ware was their ace back and caught a lot of passes, gone for the season. So Hunt, the rookie out of Toledo, is the #1 back now. 3rd and goal. Kareem Hunt, 22 and the 3rd round pick, traded up to get him. He turned out to be more than an insurance policy. Now you've got Charkandrick West in the backfield flanking Smith on the 3rd down and goal. Good protection for Smith. Fires, caught. It's Demetrius Harris for the touchdown. The Kansas City Chiefs with a huge 4th down stop thanks to Eric Berry. They take the ball and they go 90 yards in 12 plays.
Harris is going to come right here. Watch all the physical contact going, pushing down the field, and then just turns around. Former basketball player, a guy that understands rebound position, took it down the field against McCourty there and got it. That was really impressive, Al. For the Kansas City Chiefs to start this game the way that they started, all the problems, to come out of that not even with a field goal after the fumble by Hunt, and then take the ball all the way down. That was a very, very impressive drive.
Beautiful drive. 4 runs, 8 passes. Cairo Santos to try to tie the game. Colquitt puts it down. And just like that, with 3:03 to go in the opening quarter, on opening night. 7-7 in Foxborough. So Santos to kick off now, and that will result in a touchback. New England at the 25-yard line.
Well, let's take a look at the 40-year-old wonder, Tom Brady. Here he was in 2006. There's his throwing motion. Watch that left elbow tuck in tight, right over the top. Not too much difference. How quick is he getting this ball out of his hands? 0.37 in 2006. Even faster now. You can tell that's a guy that works at staying in shape. Of course, the TB12 and the workouts and the bands, and he doesn't lift weights, and he has his own formula for success.
And he lives in Ponce de Leon in the offseason. Gillislee takes the ball to the 29-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 7.
You know, we haven't talked much about Julian Edelman yet, but here's a guy that, as much as anything, I thought he was sort of the heart and soul of this team. He was a tough guy. He was like a Steve Smith. It seemed like there was a little pushing and shoving and arguing going on after every single play that Edelman was involved in, but so many clutch plays over the years.
2nd down and 7. Brady again protected. They kept them clean, and the pass is caught in Kansas City territory by Danny Amendola, who had a big Super Bowl. Amendola, 9th year in the league, came over from the Rams back in 13.
Well, there's no question that Amendola is going to have to be the guy that's going to fill in for Edelman. And when you watch him on film, it's kind of hard to tell the two of them apart. So he is a very talented guy in that slot, too.
Just about the same size. Play action. The pass is caught. Brandon Cooks to the 30-yard line. That's a gain of 15 yards for the former Saint. New England gave up draft choices in the 1st round and the 3rd round to get him away from Sean Payton.
Coming right across, you saw Derek Johnson kind of lose track of who he thought he had, but 4.33 speed shows up. And this has been an offense over the years that has probably been more horizontal like that than vertical. I think you're going to see the Patriots become a much more vertical team this year.
Especially with Cooks, the 30-yard line. Going to run an end around. This is Chris Hogan, the former lacrosse star at Monmouth in New Jersey, and he picks up a 1st down. They're so deep at running back and so deep even without Edelman at wide receiver. Hogan just another guy.
Yeah, don't forget Chris Hogan averaged almost 18 yards a catch, 2nd in the league a season ago. So he has made himself into a deep threat.
Going hurry up again. Flag is thrown. And this is Gillislee looking for room to the 15, and Bill Vinovich will be the next man you'll hear from.
Men, defense, number 49. 5-yard penalty, repeat 1st down.
Daniel Sorensen, last guy to get off the field. Bottom of the screen.
No time for a quick stroll with this guy playing quarterback, Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Said, thank you very much. I'll take the 5. I bet you he wishes he could have checked to a pass. Well, this is now where the strength of the Kansas City Chiefs defense is. They give up a lot of yards. Now, we've watched them. Teams go up and down the field just like the Patriots have. But this is when Bob Sutton's bunch, they get tough. And some of the man coverage in the middle of the field now becomes zone, now becomes dropping 8 guys back in the middle. If you can run it on them here, it makes it awfully tough. But they love that Bears front like they're in right now with those defensive linemen squeezed down.
1st and 5 after the penalty. Brady throwing into traffic and juggled and incomplete. Rex Burkhead, the intended receiver. Derek Johnson, the linebacker, covering. It'll be 2nd down and 5.
Well, anytime you get one of these running backs on any linebacker, even one as talented as Derek Johnson, they are going to test it. Burkhead, an excellent receiver, came from Cincinnati. And Johnson coming off of his 2nd Achilles injury. Got hurt with about 3 weeks to go against the Oakland Raiders, and he knew it at the time. He knew exactly what it was, and has come all the way back and looks great.
Patriots, after huddling up, they fake it to Cooks. They toss it to White. White looking for the 1st down and appears to come up a little bit short of it. Run out by Terrence Mitchell, setting up a 3rd down and 1 for the Patriots. Final half minute of the 1st quarter. Ball ready for play. Brady right up there to take the snap out of the gun. Inside handoff. And this is White, and he'll be close. Unless it's a measurement here, it'll probably be the end of the quarter. And that would start the second quarter with a 4th and 1. The last time they had that, Eric Berry made the play that turned it around for the Chiefs. And that is the end of the first quarter with the score Kansas City 7, New England 7. This kickoff special continues after these messages. Opening night second quarter. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya. It's 4th down and inches, less than the length of the football, but for the moment they're going to send Gostkowski in unless it's a fake to try to give them the lead. So they went for it the last time. Berry stopped them. This time Ryan Allen, the punter, will hold, and a chip shot field goal here.
Don't jump off sides.
From 25 yards. And that will put New England out in front by a score of 10-7. Great to have the season underway. So New England as prohibitive a favorite going into the season as I've ever seen to win the Super Bowl. We talked about it at the top, thinking about a perfect season and all that. But they did make some tremendous moves. They maybe had the best offseason any reigning champions ever had.
But a lot of moves too. So you've got to put this team back together. This isn't the team that won the Super Bowl, right? This is a different team. And I thought for the Kansas City Chiefs, it was a great advantage to have a chance to come here on opening night as everybody's shuffling their rosters. At least you come in here, if you get beat, what the heck? Everybody expects you to get beat up here anyway. Come in and pull off a win, whole world looks a little different.
And early on, staying in the game with that stop on 4th down. The kickoff is going to be fielded at the goal line by DeAnthony Thomas. And the speedster with a good run back, and they'll take him out of bounds, and the flag comes in at the end of the play as he's run out at the 30-yard line.
Yeah, I think a little face mask or something along those lines.
Brandon King, I think, is the guy who got his hand on the face mask.
Yeah, even more than that, he just pulled his whole helmet off.
During the return, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, kicking team, 15-yard penalty from the end of the run, 1st down.
There's King trying to rip his helmet off, I guess. He grabbed something and wasn't going to let it go. They made a lot of moves to try and support these special teams players because some of their stars, you know, Nate Ebner, not able to play, and Matthew Slater and other special team stars. They went out and got some guys like Marquise Flowers to try and support them. Cassius Marsh as well, especially when you're playing Kansas City and their dynamic special team units.
After the penalty at the 45-yard line, they line up now with Tyreek Hill in the backfield, and he's 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage. They fake it to him and roll Smith out, give him a ton of time, and then he fires into traffic, incomplete. Intended for Ross Travis, the number 3 tight end. Tyreek Hill broke in with a big splash last year. His rookie season was a human highlight reel. 4th player to have a 60-yard touchdown 4 consecutive games. You'd have to go back to the 50s with Grimes and Hirsch, and then Dante Hall, who played with Kansas City about a decade and a half ago. And only Ollie Matson did what Hill did last year. 3 touchdowns each by rushing, receiving, and on returns. Now you've got DeAnthony Thomas in the game. Reed showing him a lot of different looks. Handed off to Hill. And Hill gets upended at the 50-yard line. That's Devin McCourty with the great tackle. 3rd and 6.
I tell you, Devin McCourty just has a way of making plays. Watch him come right out of here, and you've got one of the great elusive backs in the game, and Tyreek Hill just form tackle. The New England Patriots spend a lot of time with their safeties because those open field tackles, when the running backs bust out there, are the most difficult plays in all of football to make. That was beautifully done by the All-Pro.
3rd and 6. Charkandrick West comes into the backfield. Smith shifts him to the left side. Alex under pressure, steps away, keeps his eyes downfield, and then gets swallowed up. Trey Flowers, talked about him, hurt during his rookie year, came on last year. Third-year guy out of Arkansas gets the sack.
Well, there's just no reason to try and run somebody all the way across. You see Malcolm Butler, but look who was on the other side. They knew they were going to have problems with that, so Devin McCourty makes the shift over, and there's Travis Kelce covered as well. Big stop by the Patriots.
Dustin Colquitt, 13th year with the Kansas City Chiefs, nose down, backspin on the ball. Amendola calls for the fair catch and makes it at the 19-yard line. Early second quarter, the reigning champs up by 3. Kansas City in town. Clark Hunt, the chairman CEO. Father, of course, was Lamar Hunt, not only the founder of the team, but the founder of the American Football League back in 1960. Now to the outside, Chris Hogan looking for room and is able to thrust forward to the 22-yard line. Justin Houston stops him there. Gain of 4, 2nd and 6.
I tell you, Eric Berry's been all over the field, hasn't he? He has figured out what those inside runs were, made that big 4th down stop, saw that reverse coming. Very smart football player.
From the 22 on the ground, Gillislee, the ex-Buffalo Bill, scored 11 touchdowns there over the last 2 seasons, which is really something since they also had Shady McCoy coming out of the backfield.
And he averaged a league best 5.7 yards per carry. And obviously, Bill Belichick knew a lot about him being in Buffalo and in that division, and ends up signing him. It's always interesting to see what Belichick is going to do with his backs. Who gets the hot hand in a particular game? This guy's a superstar. The next game, he's on the bench and somebody else is in there.
3rd and 2. And Brady fires to the left side, open. Amendola, first down, stays in bounds to pick up another 5 yards. Tackled there by Terrence Mitchell. Out to midfield they go. First down, New England.
They love the crossing routes, and then whenever you end up playing the crossing routes to some extent, then you end up with the play coming back out to the outside. Man coverage so far, Amendola has just been too good. And here's White on the backside along with Marcus Cannon. Again, good blocking, and you can see this Chiefs defense, they've been on the field a long time. The pass rush, a non-factor.
Brady, nice and clean all the time in the world. And it is incomplete, almost a circus catch by Burkhead, covered by the linebacker D. Ford. Crowd, as they always do, would like a penalty, but there's no flag. 2nd down.
That's some play by D. Ford, an outside linebacker running down the field with a very elusive back. Grabbed his arm, no question about it. And D. Ford says, nah. So far, the deep shots have not been to these speedy receivers. But Brandon Cooks on the outside against Marcus Peters now. Again, a reverse.
To Hogan again, and Hogan gets bottled up. Nice play by Justin Houston, sealing the edge, sending him back inside, making it 3rd down and 9.
I always thought Justin Houston was one of those guys that really understood football. Out here on the end of the line of scrimmage, he sees it coming. The fullback Devlin tries to get to his legs, and rather than taking him on, he just kept giving width to the outside, knowing that the pursuit from the inside ultimately would get there. But if he got hooked, they had a big play.
White now in the backfield on a 3rd and 10 from the Pats 48. Brady stepping up. Has a lot of time again. Finds his man. This time it's Gronkowski. So Gronkowski has been targeted 4 times tonight. That's his first catch. Of course, he had that what would have been a touchdown negated because the ball hit the ground in the end zone.
You're going to end up with all the defense right in the middle, and watch Tom Brady just stand there. Only a 3-man rush. The Chiefs can be really effective with that dropping 8 back into a zone coverage, playing man and a zone mix in there. But Brady understands when you're only rushing 3, if he can just move around a little bit in there, eventually one of these guys are going to pop open.
He's figured that out, huh?
Yeah, he's got that down. 40, I don't know if I mentioned that.
Play clock at 2. And finding the crease is Gillislee to the 20. I tell you, Belichick loves to go inside the division to Buffalo. He gets it. Sometimes I think the Patriots have better Buffalo players than Buffalo has.
Circle the wagons on you.
Right, tell me about it.
Dwayne Allen on the outside, nicely done against Dee Ford. I think when you have Dee Ford on one side, you want to run at him. You run away from him, he's fast enough to catch you from behind. You run at him, you can put some bigger, stronger guys on him.
From the 20, Patriots already over 200 yards of offense tonight. Gillislee again with patience. Almost looked a little like Le'Veon Bell on that one. Finding the seam, bursting through, tackled by Mitchell, 2nd and 1.
Well, they're so efficient with what they do. Chris Hogan comes down with the crack block, and then Nate Solder pulls out and kicks out Eric Berry. Here's Hogan going to come down, get the crack, and then you'll see Nate Solder come right around. They have so many different ways to block you. As a defensive player, you just don't know where it's coming from.
2nd and a short 1 from outside the 10. With the fullback Devlin in there to give it to Gillislee again. You know, you talk about running back by committee. That's the old cliche. Normally it's 2 guys, maybe 3. Patriots are 4 or 5.
Yeah, they're more of a panel or something, aren't they?
Right. They're a whole Congress.
Yeah, I like this Gillislee. I remember watching him. I think he's going to end up a bigger factor than people may have thought.
Going quick again. Gillislee takes it to the 2-yard line. Tackled there by Dee Ford. So New England's had 4 drives tonight, and every one of them has gotten them to the red zone.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what I was talking about a minute ago. When Dee Ford is on the backside of a run, more often than not, if you have to cut back at all, he can catch it. But he's not a huge guy. You can see he's, almost looks like sort of a defensive back kind of body. But he is really quick. 10 sacks a season ago.
Brady, again, great protection. Kansas City can get no pressure on him. Look at this. Dancing. On 2nd down, a little too deep, and the coverage was good in the secondary that time, and had to be. Peters covering Hogan, and that'll make it 3rd and goal.
Well, they take away all those little quick slants and quick crossers, and we've seen Brady throw so many touchdown passes, but that had to be 10 seconds he stood in the pocket that time.
And a flag down. Vinovich tells us.
Holding. Defense number 39. Pass to the goal. Automatic 1st down.
Terrence Mitchell is the guy. 1st and goal.
And think about it from a defensive back standpoint. Ordinarily, you think, okay, if I cover for 3 seconds, okay, I can relax. So here we are.
77 has reported
going around. Now he's stumbling. He's going to have to tackle him, and the whole thing. I mean, that was about 7-second, 8-second. I don't know what it was, but Tom Brady knows when you're rushing 3, and he's going to torture your secondary.
To the time with a calendar. 1st and goal from the 2. Gillislee shoulders his way into the end zone. Behind the fullback, James Devlin. Touchdown, Patriots.
Just watch the way that Gillislee lowers his shoulder here. He gets underneath the tackler, and that's a good tackler too, and Ramik Wilson, and just drove for those final 2 yards. I always sort of felt, as he's sitting on top of Wilson, so he did roll over into the end zone. The difference in the National Football League is when your running back can take a 2-yard run and make it a 4-yard run. If you have somebody that can do that, you keep drives alive, and he's going to be in the game a lot.
Yeah, LeGarrette Blount was pretty good at doing that.
Yeah,
he's in Philadelphia right now. Now they've got Gillislee. Gostkowski for the point after. And already 219 yards, and they've run 34 plays, have the Patriots. 7.5 to go in the half. 17-7 New England.
Well, Al, the NFL has awarded grants for the innovation of safer helmets, including the Vices 01, the top-performing helmet in joint lab tests conducted by the NFL and the NFLPA. The outer shell is more flexible than a typical helmet. It deforms to absorb impact, and further reducing the force of hits is this unique reflex layer. In the simplest terms, Al, the helmet yields like a car bumper in a collision.
Let's hope it all works. Nothing more important going on in the NFL right now. Gostkowski's kick, and it's going to be run back by Thomas from 5 yards in, and Thomas can bring it back only to the 24. We go back to Michelle.
Well, Alex Smith, Al, who has suffered multiple concussions and head injuries, is one of a number of Chiefs wearing the Vices 01. He said as a quarterback, his concern is when his head, quote, meets the ground. That's how he put it. He said that's often when concussions occur, and he's eager to see how this helmet protects him as the season goes along, Al.
Yeah, so true. Of course, there's a lot of stuff in the offseason about what Gisele going on, Tom Brady's wife, on CBS, and talking about he had concussions, and the league came out and said we looked into it. He didn't. From the 23-yard line, Kareem Hunt to the outside of the short side of the field before he gets bounced out of bounds into the Kansas City bench after a gain of a couple. 2nd down and 8.
It's kind of interesting for me to see some of the personnel on the field and how they're being used by the New England Patriots. Dont'a Hightower, who really didn't play at all during the course of the preseason, is now, looks like anyway, for now, he's going to be on the edge and playing an outside linebacker sort of position. They've been playing Landon Roberts inside. David Harris can play that role. Kyle Van Noy has been all over the place to some extent.
Van Noy a pickup last year in a trade with the Lions. 2nd down and 7. Smith is going to toss it on the option, and Kareem Hunt's going to pick up a 1st down. The rookie out of Toledo, who fumbled in the most inglorious debut a guy could have, has put it together right now, and has 5 carries for 30. Make it 6 for 40 yards.
The thing that makes the option so effective is you take one of their best players, in this case Dont'a Hightower, and don't block him. So now you have an extra blocker to seal off the inside, and Alex Smith comes down right at Hightower. If he stays there, pitches it out. If he goes to the pitch back, you take off and run.
Chiefs now go to 3 tight ends and put Hill 10 yards back. Make it 9 this time in the backfield. Kelsey comes into the slot. And this is Hill with some blocking, and only a gain of a couple.
Boy, when Tyreek Hill gets the ball in the backfield, the New England Patriots, they didn't care if he ran it up inside here, but you saw all of them jumping out here. They don't want to see this one where he comes circling around their defense. The entire week was spent basically when he's in the backfield, you make sure he runs in between the tackles in there.
Yeah, we talked to Belichick the other day, and we said, you know, what about Hill, stopping Hill? He says, just have to find him.
Yeah.
Anthony Thomas now lines up behind Smith in the pistol, and he fights his way up to the 40-yard line where Lawrence Guy makes the tackle. It'll be 3rd down and 5 for the Chiefs.
The Patriots really have a lot of those good big defensive linemen, and Andy Reid knows he's kind of getting to this point in the game right now. He needs one here. And Alex Smith, after some of the concussions he had a year ago, he doesn't run as much as he once did, but in key moments you always have to keep your eye on him. Very athletic guy, and the Patriots had some definite concerns about him running the ball.
13 years in the league, and he can still beat you with his legs. 3rd and 5. That secondary does his job, and then he loses his balance and takes a sack back at the 27-yard line. Line did a good job at first. Then they break it down. Dietrich Wise, a rookie from Arkansas, gets credit for the sack.
Well, you see it all the time, and we talk about it all the time. You end up with the Patriots. What do? In the key moment on 3rd and 5, they end up double teaming Travis Kelce. Everybody else was in single coverage. They took away the one that Alex Smith's the most comfortable with. That's Travis Kelce. It worked again.
Dustin Colquitt, whose father earned 2 Super Bowl rings with the Pittsburgh Steelers as a punter back in the late 70s. And his brother punts for Cleveland currently. Sends this one in the air, and this contact flag is thrown, and Amendola goes back to get it at the 16-yard line. That's the Anthony Thomas who got down there and made contact before the ball got there. Clearly.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard. I'm telling you, you're down there chasing, and you don't know when this guy's going to catch it and take off. He's clearly trying to get out of the way of him, but he was getting off the other blocker. And
kick catch interference. Kicking team number 13. 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down. Timeout.
Big penalty takes him almost to midfield. 3:44 to the half, and a 10-point game in Foxborough. Dion Lewis takes the handoff and takes the ball up to the 44-yard line. Gain of 4. 2nd and 6. There's Gronk. 1 catch tonight and then 1 near touchdown, but the ball hit the ground. They took that away.
You know, Gronk didn't play that much a season ago, but pretty remarkable what he was able to do as far as catching the ball down the field. Over 200 yards of his 500 on deep passes. Amazing for a tight end.
2nd and 6 from the 44-yard line. Brady again, good protection, a little high and incomplete. Intended for Chris Hogan, draped by Terrence Mitchell. 3rd down and 6. So statistically, 223 total yards for New England. Chris talking about they give up a lot of yardage. Last year they were 24th in the league. Kansas City was, but in terms of scoring defense, they gave up the 7th fewest points. 131 yards to 51 in passing tonight. White is in the backfield. 3rd down and 6. Brady to the 50-yard line and incomplete. Pass intended for Brandon Cooks. How excited do you think Drew Brees was when he found out that Brandon Cooks was going to New England in a trade?
I'm going to say not very, because this young player, we've seen him make so many huge plays down the field. That one a little bit left inside, and Tom Brady knew it. Terrence Mitchell has played really well. Of the cornerbacks for the Chiefs, he has impressed.
So it's 4th down. That's a punt from Allen. And yet Hill back there. And it looked, Hill was calling for a fair catch, and Thomas was back there too. So Hill calls for the fair catch, and then Thomas comes in and intercedes. Can't do it. Trickery and deceit get you nowhere.
Anytime you have a left-footed punter.
Holding. Receiving team number 51. 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick. First down. Timeout.
That backs them up. Penalty on Frank Zombo, but they do have the ball. 2:47 to go. So the penalty after the punt, and by the way, when Thomas touched it, the play would have been dead at that point because Hill called for the fair catch. Anybody else touches it, play dead at that point. Penalty moves him back. Swinging around the outside goes Kareem Hunt. Flag on that play. What would have been a 10-yard pickup. But the Chiefs are moving back toward the end zone.
Holding. Offense number 72. Packed it to the goal. Repeat first down.
Eric Fisher, left tackle.
Eric Fisher trying to hook on the outside. Jordan Richards, I believe it is, right there, but it gets up around the face mask area, and just as Richards tries to pull away, the official saw it. And another big foul in that Pittsburgh playoff game too.
That would have tied the game in a 2-point conversion, but he held James Harrison coming around the edge. Steelers won by 2. 1st and 14 after the foul. And Hunt to give them some breathing room. Gets the ball out to the 10-yard line. Clock keeps rolling. Cassius March came in a trade, 5th and 7th round picks from Seattle.
Yeah, and after that penalty now you have to take a little different approach as you're Kansas City. You don't want Tom Brady to get another shot at it if you don't pick up this first down.
And so the Patriots take a timeout.
That's exactly right.
They're trying to keep as much time on that clock, figuring they'll get it back. It's 2nd and 7. No catches for Kelce, only one for Gronkowski, two of the best tight ends in the league. In this one, 2nd down and 7 from the 11. Only a 3-man rush. Smith pump fakes, throws underneath, and then picking up the first down is Albert Wilson. And that takes us to the 2-minute warning with a first down for Kansas City. 2 minutes to the break. New England by 10 at home. Pretty much what we saw at the beginning of the game that got the crowd all fired up. So it's first down from the 20-yard line for Kansas City. Smith with the pump fake, then throws and going to the ground. Can he make the catch? He does. Is Kelce. That's his first catch. Devin McCourty with the coverage. Did he get it is the question. No challenges inside 2 minutes. So it would have to be reviewed. It would have to be stopped.
It's one of the few times we've seen Kelce with single coverage.
Right. Wasn't stopped. Wilson now loses his balance but stays alive and picks up a first down before he gets out of bounds with 1.5 minutes to go in the half.
You know, it's sort of like body blows because you know the Patriots are going to take away your 2 stars. They're going to take away Kelce. They're going to take away Tyreek Hill. So you have to begin to work to other guys before you can come back to those 2 guys. And the more often the Albert Wilsons, the DeAnthony Thomases, and the Chris Conleys catch the football, the more opportunities those 2 stars are going to get.
Smith 10 of 12 for 102 yards. Another short passing, as is regular with him, and now he's going to take off and slides to a stop at the 45-yard line, chased by Trey Flowers, and then we'll make it 2nd down and 3.
Well, Matt Patricia knew that in the big moments that Alex Smith running the football was going to be a factor. They had pretty good coverage on that one.
Chiefs with all of their timeouts. 1 minute left in the half. To the sideline he goes, and the pass is incomplete, intended for Chris Conley. Stephon Gilmore, one of the pickups in the offseason, the corner from Buffalo, with the coverage. It'll be 3rd down and 3.
Haven't mentioned his name. Stephon Gilmore got that huge contract. Not very often do you see the Patriots pay top dollar for somebody, but they knew all about Gilmore, and he is long and lean and fast, and hard for some of those big, tall receivers to take advantage of him at the cornerback position. That's why Belichick paid up.
McDaniels with Brady. Tom hoping he gets another shot here in the half, but right now it's 3rd down and 3. Deep drop for Smith, and fires, and it's Hill at the 35-yard line making the catch, and Kansas City will use its first timeout with 49 ticks on the clock.
Boy, that one looked like went right through Patrick Chung's hands. I don't know if the receiver in front of him tipped it first. Let's take a look at this.
Yeah, West goes up for it right through Chung's hands.
Chung's hands and right to Tyreek Hill. And if you're going to beat the Patriots here, you got to have a few plays like that. Well, let's take a look here at what they're doing to Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill. Clearly the 1-2 punch of this Kansas City offense, as they like to say around here, no free cookies on these crossing routes. They're going to knock you around and double team you. And then when you do get the single coverage, you have to kind of take your shot. Here it looks like Malcolm Butler's going to get beat, and McCourty picks him up on the other side.
After the timeout, they go 5 wide. Now Kelce comes into the near slot on the left side. Smith fires, short pass, outside, caught. Out of bounds goes Charcandrick West. Covered there by Hightower with 45 seconds. Numbers on Hill and Kelsey so far tonight. Kelsey just caught his first pass on this drive, thrown to only that one time. And Tyreek with 3 catches for 38. Second and 6 at the 30. Patriots come with a rare blitz, and it's caught inside the 30. Wilson trying to get out of bounds, and he's able to do that, even though he doesn't pick up anything. Tackle there by Butler, and so a 3rd and 5 upcoming now for Smith.
That's pretty amazing. They were able to keep both of those corners. When they signed Stephon Gilmore, everybody just assumed that Malcolm Butler, the Super Bowl hero, was going to be gone, and then it just never worked out. He ends up coming back, and so they end up with 2 really first-class man-to-man coverage people on the outside now.
So Santos warming up, prospective field goal attempt. He would hope an extra point instead. 3rd and 5. Protection is good. Coverage is good. Catch made. 21-yard line. And this is Hill getting out of bounds to conserve a timeout that would have taken one had he been tackled in bounds, obviously. 28 seconds and a first down.
Yeah, we're starting to see Alex Smith throw a little bit of Tom Brady back at the Patriots. Now the Patriots come with their 3-man rush, and Alex Smith takes his time and ends up finding Tyreek Hill, who does a great job to get out of bounds. He is a heady young man. Figuring out this game. He has all kinds of star power written all over him.
He had a long way to go. He gets there, stops the clock, 28 seconds. They still have the 2 timeouts. First down from the 21. Smith surveying, going for the end zone, and there's action there, but there is Demarcus Robinson clapping his hands now, and a flag is thrown, and that's Butler covering on the play.
It's perfect coverage by Butler, but once the ball's in the air and his head's not turned around, the receiver has every right to come back to that ball. That's a good call by the officials.
Defense number 21.
No question.
Final curtain in the end zone. Ball is placed at the 1-yard line. First down.
Butler had only 1 pass interference called against him. You know what I thought's interesting there, Chris? You've got your number 1 defensive back going against your number 4 wide receiver. Butler on Robinson.
But give Alex Smith credit. I know everybody can't wait to see Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City and all that kind of stuff. Alex Smith saw Butler with his back turned, threw it to him, knew they were going to draw the foul.
You got Hill in the slot. Thomas is also in the game. It's thrown to the outside, and the tackle is made by McCourty on DeAnthony Thomas. He goes nowhere, and they'll stop the clock with 16 seconds and a 2nd down and goal.
They had all kinds of options working on that route. It looked like there were 3 or 4 different things coming. People coming over and running underneath. The shovel pass was a possibility, and I just don't think that Alex Smith felt comfortable with that shovel pass and threw it out there, and that did nothing. This is a really big moment in the game, though, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, because there's not that much time left. They put 1 second back on 17. You stay in bounds. Where do you use your timeout? Unless you go to the end zone. A lot of stuff going on here.
I tell you, one thing we learned last year is that Travis Kelce is a great blocker on the perimeter. Remember some of those runs that we saw from Alex Smith and some of the things where he would get outside? And when you get a one-on-one block against an athletic guy on the outside, Kelce's one of the few guys that can make it.
Hunt is back in the game. Kareem Hunt flanking Smith. This is the 12th play of the drive. Smith throwing, caught, and getting into the end zone is Kareem Hunt for the touchdown. So a half that begins with a fumble on his first carry will end with a touchdown for the rookie.
It is just so hard to try and cover a back when you have all of this motion. Watch, he's going to come out here and people are going to be running this way, and even though there's no contact, as a defensive back, you're kind of flinching your way through there, and meanwhile that back is running full speed. Great play design that time by Andy Reid and company.
12 plays, 92 yards. Remember, it started after the penalty back at the 8. 2 runs, 10 passes, and now Santos to try to make it a 3-point game, and Kansas City will get the ball to start the second half. And that makes it 17-14 with 13 seconds left to halftime.
Kareem Hunt at Toledo was a very special player. The Kansas City Chiefs moved up in the draft to get him 5.6 yards per carry on 1,475 yards. #1 ranked in the FBS according to Pro Football Focus. 76 forced missed tackles on. That ranked him second out of everybody in the league, and he was an excellent receiver. When you watch the game, sometimes you thought Kareem Hunt was the only guy on the team. They were throwing it to him, they were handing it to him, and you can see why. Nice catch, and he was not going to be denied getting in that end zone.
Let's go to Michelle.
Well, yeah, Chris, last season at Toledo, Kareem Hunt had 41 receptions, by far the most of his college career, and it's even more impressive when you consider he did it while wearing a club to protect a broken left wrist. So he did all of that with a broken wrist, Chris.
It's pretty amazing. I mean, he's impressive. I think the thing that impressed me the most, Al, is that he didn't get down after that fumble.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he kept playing.
He was distraught on the bench, but they had that big stop on 4th down, went down the field. You've got Dion Lewis now taking the ball back with 8 seconds to play. 4th consecutive year, Nike and Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriots, have collaborated on a limited edition Air Force One shoe. All proceeds benefit the Boys and Girls Clubs of Boston. Sale of this year's shoe proceeds will eclipse $500,000, pushing the 4-year total in excess of $1.5 million.
Just a matter of time before those shoes go in the Hall of Fame,
Yep,
isn't it?
They will.
Boy, what a job he's done here with this franchise.
He would wear a tuxedo with a cummerbund and still have those shoes on.
He would.
Good halves. 17-14 on opening night 2017 season. Downtown Boston, and we're in Foxborough. About a 45-minute drive to the south. Start of the third quarter, 17-14 New England. So what about that first half? Alex Smith, very proficient in terms of completion percentage. Most of the stuff is short, but he threw 2 touchdown passes. Tom Brady just a little bit over 50%, 131. And Gronkowski's caught only 1. Kareem Hunt, after that fumble on his first NFL carry, got it together. Receiving touchdown and 7 carries for 47. And Gillislee in his debut as a Patriot, coming over from Miami and Buffalo, where he's been the last 4 years, 2 touchdowns. So Brady getting ready, but he'll have to wait because Kansas City deferred after they won the toss. They'll get it. They're the 5 banners going back to 01, then 03 and 04. So they won 3 in 4 years, as did the Cowboys in the early 90s, then in 14 against Seattle, and of course last year the miraculous comeback against the Atlanta Falcons.
You know, the Chiefs trying to double up the way that the Patriots have on so many teams. Score right before the half and you get the ball right back here.
Opportunity to do it. Looked pretty good in the first half. 180 total yards, and this kick will result in a touchback. KC will take it at the 25, but first to Michelle we go.
Well, I spoke with Bill Belichick coming out of the locker room at halftime, and I asked him for his overall assessment of the first half. He said there's some good, but there's a lot we need to do better. I asked him what was good, and he said, well, it's a competitive football game. We just have to be more consistent. As for Andy Reid, he declined to talk, guys.
Declined to talk after his team got back into the game. Only if he's tied or winning traditionally does Andy talk to even Michelle. Certainly not us.
Can you blame him?
No, we like he's a good man. All right, Kareem Hunt is the running back as we start the third quarter from the 25-yard line. And they give it to Hunt, and he gets in behind the fullback Sherman and takes it for an 11-yard gain. So they had Sherman in the game, number 42, and he led the way.
Well, it was an impressive after the first play start. You get the fumble for Kareem Hunt on the very first carry of his career. Everybody comes over. Come on, you're all right. Hang in. Believe it or not, that's a loving thing in football when somebody beats on your shoulder pads like that. And he did. He hung in there and came back and was a major factor throughout the course of that first half. And give credit to Alex Smith, too. I thought he was tremendous in the first half.
And once again, to the outside goes the rookie, but a flag is thrown, so you can probably take this one back, and you will. Bill Vinovich will give us the call momentarily.
Holding. Offense number 70. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Left guard Brian Witzman.
Witzman, a new guard. Here he comes right there, and Hightower is going to come across the line of scrimmage. It was a good initial contact, but then he wrapped around and took him to the ground, and there really was no need for it. Again, you see it happen to guards and centers sometimes when they get out in space. Things you can get away with in there, can't get away with there. There's a guy that's been cut by 3 different teams, Brian Witzman, and slugged his way onto the starting lineup here for a very good Chiefs team.
8 penalties versus just 2. First down and 20 now. They're back to the 25-yard line. And a fake toss, and then they toss it to Kelsey. And he'll get surrounded by blue shirts, but turn nothing into a little something. Devin McCourty finally knocks him out of bounds, but he did get 6 yards. Makes it 2nd and 14.
Pretty amazing they could actually get that play in there. They've got that Bears defense with all the defensive linemen right in the middle, and so there really wasn't anything there. And Kelsey, who is one of the most elusive guys in football, certainly ever play the tight end position, averaged 7.7 yards after the catch, which is remarkable for anybody, much less a tight end.
The Flowers almost had him down at the line of scrimmage, shoved him aside. 2nd down, 13. Outlet pass to Kareem Hunt. To the 39 he goes. Stephon Gilmore makes the tackle. It'll make it 3rd down and 6 for Kansas City.
You know, Mike Shanahan would have liked Kareem Hunt. He's kind of a one-cut back. You know, he gets in there, they see those outside zone runs, and he cuts it back up the field, catches the ball well. Terrell Davis played like that an awful lot.
Yeah, Mike had a bevy of backs who could do that same thing.
Yeah.
3rd and 5. Patriots with 7 guys on the line of scrimmage. And they come, and Smith hangs in there, throws, caught, but a great tackle is made on Hill by Butler to stop him short of the first down and send in the punting group. And we can see Alex going, oh man, I needed 1 more yard.
Yeah, a little catch and run, and they've been trying to work this little underneath route. That time Malcolm Butler finally had seen it enough. But here's one of the keys to the defense, because Stephon Gilmore is getting away with being one-on-one all by himself on one half of the field, so it's allowing some help to take place on the other half.
Dustin Colquitt. Fair catch called for, made at the 18-yard line by Danny Amendola. New England with the ball on a 3-point advantage. From the 17-yard line, New England begins its drive. Their first possession of the half. Fake to Gillislee. Brady gets chased away and then throws deep downfield and incomplete. Intended for Dwayne Allen. First pass of the night went to Allen. That's only the 2nd time he's been targeted. 2nd and 10.
Yeah, they really set up the hard play action on this one, though, Al. They were giving it a shot on the backside. That was the first time we were going to see Brandon Cooks screaming down the backside. You can see Brady took a look over there. The post was there if he could have gotten settled to throw it and just had to come back and throw it away.
The back is James White on 2nd down and 10. And Amendola comes back, fake it to him, fake it to White, and then throw it back to Amendola. And he loses the ball. Close to a first down. New England has recovered, but who has the ball at the 28-yard line? And the Chiefs are walking away. It looks like New England has it, and they do. So it is Andrews, David Andrews, the center, who saves the bacon.
Yeah, initially there's D. Ford punching that out after Ron Parker with the initial hit. There it was. Andrews saved the day. So far, the pressure from Kansas City really has not been much of a factor at all on Tom Brady.
He stayed clean. Threading his way for a gain of a couple is Gillislee. So Gronkowski tonight missed most of last season, or a good part anyway, with injuries. 1 reception, 16 yards, and of course had that catch in the end zone, which looked to be a touchdown and was overturned.
But there's the main reason why. Eric Berry was sensational in the first half, and he had a lot of man coverage against Gronkowski in that half and did a job.
2nd and 8 at the 30. Keep it on the ground. Gillislee tries to swing to the outside and gets taken down. That was Justin Houston who forced him down. It'll be 3rd down. Justin Houston had 22 sacks, a half shy of Michael Strahan's NFL record back in 2014.
Watch Justin Houston squeeze this down so he can't cut it out, and then when he bounces to the outside, Houston's going to jump out there and get him perfectly played. That's just a veteran football player. Took away the inside hole and was still in position with that outside arm free to make the tackle. Great play.
3rd and 12 with White and Lewis flanking Brady. Deep drop. Brady throws and nobody comes open. Intended for Hogan. It's incomplete, covered by Mitchell, so it's 4th down.
All right, let's take a look at the protection over on the left side. Nate Solder working against D. Ford. Perfectly done. And then on the backside, Marcus Cannon going against Houston. A little chip from Lewis. Tom Brady flinched a little in there and really didn't have to, but once again down the field, Terrence Mitchell with another play.
Meanwhile, it's Tyreek Hill this time who drops back to return the punt. Fields on the run and then has to recover it at the 40-yard line, if indeed he does, off the Ryan Allen kick. So they're going to spot Hill on punt returns, not use him all the time because he's in so many offensive plays. New England thinks they wound up with the ball, but they dropped the flag as well after the play. And Hill looking to make something happen on a very short punt of 34 yards. And we'll get the call from Vinovich after the caucus.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Receiving team number 49, pulling a player off the pile. 15-yard penalty, 1st down. Timeout.
Daniel Sorensen. Doesn't need that hoodie tonight. Beautiful night. Temperature is 63 degrees at the moment. Clear skies. After a rainy Wednesday. Now Kansas City begins this drive from the 25-yard line, and the play clock was all the way down to 1. Smith winds up, goes deep downfield, and getting free is Tyreek Hill to give Kansas City the lead. McCourty got over there too late. 75 yards, and sooner or later, Tyreek Hill, who had those 4 games in a row at the end of last season with touchdowns of 60 or more yards, does it again. And that has silenced this big crowd.
Not exactly sure what happened on this crazy play, because you're going to get a little out and up. Safety going here. This has to be the play of Stephon Gilmore. There's nobody else left out there. And he just lost track of Tyreek Hill. I don't know how you do that.
They stack the receivers. Gilmore looking inside, and forget it when Hill gets by you. End of story. Santos now for the extra point. And the this crowd a little stunned the way this one has turned out, at least to this point in the game, with 9:19 remaining in the third, and Kansas City takes its first lead.
And one thing you know, if you're Alex Smith and Tyreek Hill is flying down the sideline, you better wind up and throw it if you're going to get it out there to him. He did. He threw it for all it was worth. Wide open. And how about this? In a night when it looked like the Kansas City Chiefs were going to get blown out, are now in the lead.
It looked for all the world like it was going to be 14-0 about 5.5 minutes into the game. Overturn of the touchdown, the stop by Berry, the 90-yard drive for Kansas City, and here they are on top by 4.
And what did Alex Smith tell us? He said that, you know, we're going to be pushing the ball downfield a little bit more than maybe people are thinking we're going to. It's been looking pretty good in practice. And here we go. And for Alex Smith, who has been hearing nothing but how much everybody loves Patrick Mahomes, who played great in the preseason, that one had to feel good.
And there's Mahomes, and he has some arm. Watching him warm up before the game tonight. A returnable kick, but it will be down in the end zone.
How fast is Tyreek Hill? Well, if he had been running in the 200 meters in Rio against Usain Bolt and company, here's where he would have finished. The red line is Tyreek Hill and where his time would be. And there he is with the fastest humans in the world. And remember, that time that he ran was in high school. That's unbelievable.
That's why our gang, Fred Gaudelli and Drew Escoff, are the best. I love that package.
I think he would have beaten Rich Eisen, don't you?
Yep, I think so. The 25-yard line. Brady steps away. He goes deep downfield, and that is incomplete. No flag. Marcus Peters covering Chris Hogan down the sideline. Second down and 10.
Well, we've been talking about Peters with all the 14 turnovers and interceptions in the last 2 years. He is going to grab a little, and then he pulled off, and he's a clever guy. You know, he reminds me a little bit of Richard Sherman, a guy named Asante Samuel. He has a way of playing off the receiver, sort of feeling the route from the receiver, but also looking at the quarterback and knowing what he's doing.
Wearing Samuel's old number, 22.
Yep.
Through the middle, Gillis Lee. Close to a 5-yard pickup, and with 9 minutes to go in the third quarter, it'll be 3rd and 5.
Does it feel like this million-mile-an-hour offense of the Patriots has slowed down?
No question.
I don't really know exactly why that is, but they have definitely gone from pedal to the metal on that first drive when we couldn't even keep up with it. We're trying to keep up with the action, and now maybe they just want to wait till they get a first down and make sure their defense gets a little breather.
3rd and 6 from the 29-yard line. Brady slings it, caught, and that is Gronkowski making the catch to convert on 3rd down out to the 46-yard line. Eric Berry covering him.
Well, this has been a heck of a matchup between two great all-pro players. Berry in good position, just couldn't get his head around, and Gronkowski just overpowering. You can see Berry had his hand in there, but Gronk wasn't going to give up that one.
56.
Two of the great tight ends in the league right there. Look out.
The flea flicker, and Brady under pressure though, and he has to throw it into the ground. Incomplete. So that time Justin Houston was not fooled. He came through. Flea flicker doesn't work.
And James White was on the ground right in front of Tom Brady. It looked for all the world. Just watch White here. He's going to be on the ground. Flea flicker not there. Tom Brady saw his back, just threw it right down at him.
And no intentional grounding. He was outside what they call the tackle box.
But then it would have had to get back to the line of scrimmage.
Right. That's why, you know, Vinovich made the announcement, but you wonder. Meanwhile, this is Dion Lewis to just about midfield. They're going to contend that he was throwing the ball to James White. Sort of, kind of.
That was correct.
Yep.
He was right there.
Sort of, kind of.
Another 3rd and 5. Here we go. I say Julian Edelman's been missed a little so far.
Especially in situations like this. Yep. In situations like this, Danny Amendola, the intended receiver, hit by Justin Houston. And that's going to make it 4th down, and Amendola a little slow in getting to his feet.
So here's what this 3-man rush will do. It allows them to take a pass rusher, drop him underneath there, so that when Amendola came across, Justin Houston had a little surprise. But they work this defense really to perfection. They play man on the outside. And for Tom Brady, you wonder if he's starting to think now, like he did in the Super Bowl second half, I better start throwing it outside and not inside.
Hill is back this time again, but can only catch it out of bounds. Directional punt. KC with the ball, leading by 4. That's pretty stunning. Look who the better quarterback has been tonight. 20 out of 23. His pass rating is almost perfect. Alex Smith. Brady started out hot, but since then, not much. Could have won a few bets throwing up that graphic before the game.
Could have.
Halfway through the
started.
You're right. Halfway through the quarter, Kansas City. Hunt is the back from the 14-yard line, and they give it to him, and he is able to turn it into a little something with a 2-yard gain. And that's Dante Hightower, who's been injured a lot in recent years, very slow, still has not gotten up. So Hightower, who did not play at all in preseason, and he's down on the surface.
Let's take a look. There's Hightower right there. Looks like he got rolled out on that right knee. I asked the question of some of the Patriots coaches, who would replace Hightower on this defense if he couldn't go? And there was a little bit of stammering going on. They don't really have anybody else in that position that they feel really comfortable about. Now, I'm going to guess Kyle Van Noy maybe goes over there. They've got David Harris who can play inside. I mean, this is worst of situations for this defense.
Hightower still down. Back after this. Well, the good news is Hightower is up and able to walk on his own over to the bench. Then he goes into the tent. That's new this year. They put him in there. Medical folks go in. They zip it up. Take a look at him. And we'll see when he emerges. Not yet, though. Cassius Marsh, recently acquired from Seattle, comes in to spell him. And Smith throws deep downfield, and it is incomplete. Devin McCourty covering Travis Kelce, turning around to the outside. It's 3rd down and 9.
You know, Devin McCourty with a big smile there. You can see a little out and then back up again. And McCourty played corner at one time, went back to safety. And that's the great thing about having him in the lineup, is that you can literally put him on a wideout and still feel pretty good about the matchup. Alex Smith knew that was close.
Sets up a 3rd and 9. McCourty enjoying the moment. And we'll see what the Chiefs can pull off here on a 3rd and long. Smith fires, and that's incomplete. Intended for Chris Conley, and that's Stephon Gilmore making the play to force the punt.
Well, Stephon Gilmore with a little makeup on that one. They're trying to go that corner stop route and snap around, but he was all over that. That's just perfectly played. That's why you pay him that kind of money.
Amendola back. Edelman would have been the punt returner, but he's gone for the year. Then Cyrus Jones might have been the next guy up. So they go back to Amendola, who has plenty of experience running back punts and kickoffs. Dustin Colquitt puts it in the air. Amendola calls for and makes the fair catch at the 46-yard line. So Brady will get it near midfield. 6:22 remaining in the 3rd. 21-17. Eric Berry.
Clearly one of the stars so far for the Chiefs. Watch him come over on this 4th down play and make the stop, scraping over the top like he would played linebacker his whole life. On the reverse, no problem. Got that one tied up, saw it all the way. But the big matchup on Gronkowski. Gronk now with 2 catches, had 1 in the first half. They were battling, a little pugging, a little pulling, a little tugging, a little all that stuff. But just 2 guys going at it, and Berry's been playing like a star.
So Brady under 50% now, 11 out of 24 for 156. He said Amendola 5 times, nobody else more than twice. They reposition Hogan and Amendola on a 1st down play. Chiefs put the pressure on the pass intended for Gronkowski. Flag is down. D Ford again put the heat on. 9 penalties against KC tonight, only 2 against New England thus far.
Right of the pass. Holding. Defense number 39. 5-yard penalty. Automatic 1st down.
Make it 10 against 2. That's Terrence Mitchell, the corner.
Terrence Mitchell is just going to get his hand up on the shoulder pads here and just pull it down. Any tugging, whenever they see that, that's all they need. You're going to get it called 100% of the time. On the other side, Philip Gaines, if they had thrown that way, look what happened to him. Decked.
29, 19,
Straight drop by Tom. Fires open, making the catch. Big gain is Amendola, taken down finally by Philip Gaines. But a gain on the play after the penalty of 22 yards to the KC 27, and now they'll pick up the pace.
Yeah, and they had gone away from Philip Gaines after having early success. They finally get back to him. That's going to be the matchup they're going to have to exploit. They're going to have to go after with Amendola, Philip Gaines. He's not used to playing in that slot position.
Brady, 3 receivers set to the right, looks the other way to the left, then goes deep downfield. There's all kinds of action there, and a flag. It's incomplete, but you can see it's going to be a penalty. Brandon Cooks, the intended receiver, and that's Terrence Mitchell that knows he is the guilty man.
Pass interference. Defense number 39. Spot foul. Automatic 1st down.
The hardest thing in the world to learn in this league is you've got to bring your head back around, because otherwise you're going to get this pass interference. I mean, Brandon Cook's been around long enough to know if this guy's doing that, I just have to jump back into him. I don't even have to make a real attempt to get to the ball. I just have to go back into him, and you're going to get the foul.
Solder eligible, as is the case oft times, from the 1-yard line. Devlin is the fullback. Gillislee is the tailback. Gillislee. And he will get stopped inches shy of the goal line. It'll be 2nd down. Well, I tell you, penalties are killing the Chiefs right now. 109 yards on 11 penalties.
Yeah, and a lot of them on those pass interference calls. You know, those are the killers down the field. Andy Reid's team's been playing great. Actually, Terrence Mitchell has been covering well. He's been in great position. Just make the foul.
2nd and goal. Gillislee again angles his way into the end zone. Touchdown, and New England has the lead again. Gillislee 45 yards tonight on 14 carries. He's been the main man out of the backfield.
You really have no choice here at this intersection if you're Derek Johnson to just try and go low. Watch how low Gillislee gets. I mean, he still can't get underneath him. And then once you hit him there, essentially all you do at that point is pop him up in the air and into the end zone. He's an impressive young man. It's no fluke. This is what he did a lot in Buffalo.
So with 5:01 remaining in the 3rd quarter, Gostowski tries to make it a 3-point game and does. And if you have Gillislee in your fantasy league, you're doing pretty well right now. He's got 3 touchdowns. Well, Hurricane Harvey, we know, has impacted millions. New storms fast approaching. The entire NFL family, including players, teams, and fans, committed to supporting the relief efforts. We invite you across the country Join us in a huddle for relief, rallying around those who have been and continue to be affected by the storm. You can visit redcross.com/NFL or text Red Cross to 90999. There's JJ's page. $29 million. Pretty good.
What was his goal? 200,000. How'd he do?
I think he did pretty well.
Wow. It's a real tribute to that young man and really to America that he's been able to do that. But for him to have the idea, he was the right guy at the right place, well respected. And for all anybody wants to say about social media, boy, it sure came in handy in this case.
Definitely.
Good for him.
Anthony Thomas back to return the kick. This is a line drive, fielded about a couple of yards in. Thomas tackled, beautiful tackle there by Jonathan Jones, free agent out of Auburn. So they're minus a couple of their key guys on special teams, and then Jones comes up with a big play.
Here we go. You're down there and you're just weaving through traffic and you have no idea, and every once in a while it just intersects where you are. But you've got to make the play at that point. That's brilliant. Nicely done. Boy, with all the guys, Johnson, Betamosi, another guy they brought over to try and shore up these special teams. And so far tonight, they've done really well against this tremendous return game of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Pin them deep here. Marsh is still in the game now. Hightower is still on the bench. And a little shovel pass, and that's a 9-yard gain to Travis Kelce. Use him on that play a lot. 2nd down and 1 for KC.
And you have to go after Cassius Marsh here, right? I mean, oh, here comes a flag in on the play.
You had Van Noy and might have been Kelce involved. Patriots are clapping, so that is a pretty good indication of what they have in mind here. We think, unless it's offsetting. And there is Hightower on the bike on the sideline with Marsh in there and Van Noy.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, taunting, offense number 87, 15-yard penalty, down counts. 3rd down.
Man, oh man, you go from a 2nd and 1.
That penalty is the first of 2 with regard to disqualification.
It's the first of 2. The second would result in a disqualification.
So there's Kelce.
Yeah, he's going to jam the ball. Yep.
That was Van Noy who was on top of him. And I think that, all right, up, yep. Between his legs, and that's a good call.
So you go from 2nd and 2 to 2nd and 17.
And for Travis, that's not the first time he's had an incident with his temper. You can remember him throwing the flag back at the official, or his towel at the official last year.
12 penalties to 2, a 6-to-1 ratio. And make it 2nd down now, 2nd and 12. Respot the ball here at the 11-yard line.
Boy, with who the New England Patriots have in the game right now, they just could not have worked very long together. For Matt Patricia, he's got to be looking at sort of first week install as to the defenses he can call at this point with a guy like Cassius Marsh, who's been here for 5 days.
That's why he's a rocket scientist.
There you go. He might wear out that pencil.
You gotta love that look between the beard and and the red pullover and the pencil sticking out and the hat on backwards. He's become a character in town.
Well, yeah, he's a bit of a cult hero around here.
Yeah. 2nd down and 12 from the 11-yard line. Going to draw. punt. Minimal gain. 3rd and long. We go to Michelle.
Well, Dante Hightower remains on the stationary bike wearing a hot pad on that right knee. He is questionable with that knee injury, Al.
All right, thank you, Michelle. Well, we'll see what there he is. Again, guy who did not play at all in preseason. Only once in his career has he played every game in a 16-game season, but he made 2 of the biggest plays in Super Bowl history to help the Patriots win both. Stopping Marshawn Lynch in one, and then the strip sack of Ryan in the other last year. 3rd down and 11. Smith under pressure, under heat. Down he goes. The line of scrimmage, you got Trey Flowers, and a flag is down. Back at the 6-yard line.
Holding. Offense number 76. Penalties decline. Result of the play. 4th down.
Well, I tell you, this Trey Flowers has become a bit of a force and probably the guy that is going to be the most important now for a while for the New England Patriots. If they are going to have a pass rush this year, it'll probably be Trey Flowers. There's a young player I like. I haven't seen much of him so far, Adam Butler, that has a chance. And then maybe Cassius Marsh. They don't have many pure pass rushers on this roster.
Colquitt from the end zone. Flag is down. Amendola at the 45-yard line. Takes it to the 43. Yet Brandon Bolden coming in and made contact with Colquitt. Is that the call? And it's going to be the call because he's going to go over to Andy Reid and discuss the options
here. Yeah, but you know what it is? He ran into the kicking leg, so that's only going to be running into the kicker and not roughing.
Right.
So
it was 4th and 12 to make it 4th and 7.
You might want to kick it again.
Receiving team. 5-yard penalty. Repeat 4th down.
There you go. So it's 4th and 7.
Yeah, because the punt wasn't very good, and it was a decent return.
So Reid has opted to have them kick again. And that'll move the ball out to the 16-yard line.
That's an expensive penalty on Travis Kelce in that situation. You start moving the ball a little bit. You can't make life easy on the Patriots in this building.
That's our man.
Can't help it.
Steve Burke with Robert Kraft. This is Colquitt's 5th punt of the night. This is a much better kick. And Amendola backs up. You get another flag. And again, contact is made this time by Cassius Marsh. And what are you going to have here? Running?
No, it's going to be another 5. Although, and when you look at this thing, you start wondering how in the heck is this only 5 yards? But that's the rule if he hits the kicking leg.
I mean, Colquitt came hobbling off the field.
I mean, watch this shot he's going to take.
Yeah.
Got a little bit of the other leg too, but he didn't hit it down on it. You see Marsh trying to avoid the contact, but I'm sure Andy Reid and Dave Tober going, oh, please.
So if it's a 5-yarder, it just makes it 4th and 2.
But that was a much better punt.
No question.
Running into the kicker. Receiving team. 5-yard penalty. Repeat 4th down.
Well, now you're asking your coverage team to cover 3 punts in a row.
Maybe they figure to rough them one more time, give them a first down.
You're right.
Colquitt's probably wish they had just let it be.
Sure. And everybody else covering.
Wonder if Bill Belichick's going to rush anybody on this one. It's amazing, though, that you can hit the punter like that 2 times in a row and not have a first down.
Yes, even when the penalties go against New England, it doesn't matter that much.
Oh, that's a heck of a kick.
Yep, good one again. Amendola backs up, still backing up, 23-yard line. Tries to escape around the left side, and then he steps out of bounds at the 28.
keep coming and the lights keep flashing. Come on, get ready for the action. Oh, Sunday nights.
So, partner, it's almost become a tradition. We open up with the Giants and the Cowboys. So many great games. And that's the opener on Sunday night. Then Green Bay at Atlanta, week 2. Pretty good way to start.
A great way to start. And for that Giants-Cowboys game, so much on the line. The Giants got them twice last year.
They did. Brady unleashes one for Cooks. Flag is down at the 40-yard line. So Cooks is able to haul it in, but a penalty marker back at the 40.
Man.
So the penalty came about 12 yards downfield.
Prior to the pass, holding. Defense number 23. Penalty decline. Result of the play. First down.
Philip Gaines, the nickelback, 54 yards on the play here.
You want to see what 4.3 speed looks like? Here you go. And for Terrence Mitchell, no chance. But how about Brady? He threw it from his 20 to the other 20. 60 yards worth in the air at age 40. TB12. Give me a dose.
A few. That's an 8-yard gain for White. Everybody's saying, you know, Brady's 40. He was pretty good at 39, wasn't he? Like 28 touchdowns and 2 interceptions last year after being suspended for the first 4 games.
I'll say arguably the best year he ever had. I'll
Could
go
be.
back through a few numbers. I'll show you, but arguably the best he's ever had.
56.
A little over 2 minutes to play. Brady looks up at the play clock. 2nd and 3. And skittering his way is James White to set up a first down and goal.
You know, James White's one of those guys that so many times they'll motion him out, put him out wide. If the linebacker goes with him, they'll throw it to him. If not, they'll just motion him back in and hand him the football. Tom Brady, when he uses motion, knows what you're going to do on defense.
And getting about half the distance to the goal line is James White. Alan Bailey makes the tackle. A minute and a half to go in the quarter. 2nd and goal from the 4.
They just methodically wear you down. You know, and it's the same thing in the Super Bowl. 93 plays the Atlanta Falcons had to defend, and by the end of it, they just were out of gas. The pressure that was there for that first 3 quarters of that game just was not there in the 4th quarter and overtime.
Right there. Off the ball.
2nd and goal.
B19.
Toss. Trying to get outside, but impossible to do against Derek Johnson. Inside backer making a great play behind the line of scrimmage. White loses 6. It'll be 3rd and goal back at the 10 now.
Here's the key. This Bears defense in front of Derek Johnson keeps David Andrews from being able to get to Derek Johnson. That's why they run it down here. They want to, by formation, discourage you from running the football, and you saw why.
3rd and goal. Brady stepping up, stepping away. He's across the line of scrimmage, and that's caught by James White. For the moment, it's a touchdown, but forget, the line of scrimmage was the 10, and Brady was clearly across the line of scrimmage.
And loss of down, too.
To make it 4th down.
Remember, even if the very back foot is still behind the line, he's okay, but both feet are well over.
Yeah, the red line's
Right
the line
there.
of scrimmage, the 10. So,
but even if 1 foot were on that red line, he would have been fine.
Illegal forward pass. Offense number 12. He was beyond the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty. Loss of down. 4th down.
So Tom's GPS doesn't work for the moment, but in comes the field goal group to try to make it a 6-point game.
That's a huge stop. We've seen the Kansas City Chiefs and Alex Smith. They don't do it every drive, but it seems like when they do get on one of those long drives, they've been able to convert it into a touchdown.
Gostowski now for a relatively short field goal, 32 yards. When's the last time Brady was penalized for an illegal forward pass for going over the line of scrimmage? 2006. So every 11 years. And the field goal is good from 32. Gostkowski knocks it through. 9 seconds left in the third. 27-21 Patriots. Take a look at the Patriots Super Bowl rings: 01, 03, 04, then 14 and 16. What are they going to do if they win it again this year?
I'd have to put that on my bicep.
Right. It's
huge.
Take every diamond out of South Africa they can find.
It's pretty remarkable, isn't it? I mean,
Incredible.
you have, by any standards, the 3 biggest locks to go into the Hall of Fame at one point: Robert Kraft, Bill Belichick, and Tom Brady. I mean, what they've done here on this run is just amazing. And that comeback last year, I remember sitting in the stands up there. It's 28-3. The Falcons fans are all taking selfies. They're not even watching the game anymore, and the party had started, and Tom Brady had just gotten started too.
I remember watching the game thinking, you know, it was Fox's game. We get it every 3 years. I'm going, man, I'm glad we don't have this one.
Yeah. How'd you feel at the end of it?
And then this is Thomas from a couple of yards in. They stopped them and stuffed them the last time, and they do it again. Johnson Batamosi, they picked them up from Detroit. One of the new Patriots. Again, great coverage. And remember, they're missing Matthew Slater, who goes to the Pro Bowl every year as their main special teams guy.
But how many head coaches would spend the amount of time on special teams and special teams personnel to go out and make those kind of deals? Batamosi came over. Marquise Flowers came over. Just because he wasn't comfortable with what he had left on his special teams. And so far tonight, at the very beginning of the show, I told you how great these special teams were. The Patriots are winning the special teams battle.
And they are. And this was something that Kansas City excelled at last year. And tonight it's been the Pats. 4 seconds. A flag is thrown.
False start. Offense number 70. Half distance to the goal. Still first down.
Left guard Witzman. Last year the Chiefs had the most false starts in the NFL, 29. Tonight a total of 13 penalties for 124 yards against KC.
The Chiefs have to get it back together here now. Clearly, since the one penalty on the previous series from Kelsey, they looked unsettled. This is a team that just came off of that big play. They need somebody to step up and make a play here.
Trying to give him some breathing space. Hunt. Nice start to this drive. Out to the 17, and that takes us to the end of the third. Good one for the opener. 27-21 New England. This kickoff special continues after these messages. Meanwhile, the Patriots, since Brady took over in 01, they're 105-2 when they hold a lead here in the fourth quarter. That's the case tonight. They did lose, however, on Sunday Night Football last year in a wild one against the Seahawks. 2nd down and 3 as we start the fourth. Fake to Hill and Kelsey. And Kelsey takes it up to the 22-yard line to move the chains. First down.
Well, they have really worked that play tonight, haven't they? They bring Tyreek Hill in front, and then Travis Kelsey trails behind for the shovel pass. And I don't even think they believe they're fooling New England at this point. They just like the ball in the hands of Travis Kelsey, and he's a pretty good runner. He was elusive enough to pick up that first down.
That goes into the books as a forward pass. He's caught 4 tonight, including a couple like that. He's caught only 1 regular pass downfield. And Smith, he fires deep, and that's going to be caught on the run by Kareem Hunt. Inside the 20, inside the 10, all the way for a Kansas City touchdown to tie the game.
Let's fucking go!
So a guy whose night could not have started worse with a big play here, 78 yards on the pass and run.
There we go. You go right after the new guy here, Cassius Marsh. Going to swing. There's Marsh right there. He's going to have to try and trail him. This is not exactly what he's used to doing. He's a pass rusher. Alex Smith looked left, didn't like what he had, and threw it right on the button. If Kareem Hunt had to break stride at all, he does not score on that play. We have seen Alex Smith at his best here tonight.
Now the extra point to give Kansas City the lead again. Kairos Santos on the 33-yard extra point. Colquitt to put it down. And that kick is just good, grazing the right upright. 28-27, back in 30. Quarterbacks hate when you call them game managers, and that's always been attached to Smith through most of his career. He's managing some game tonight. 313 yards, 4 touchdowns, 23 of 28. And 300-yard games for Alex Smith are far and few between.
Yeah,
few and far between, whatever that was.
And here we go, a 75 and a 78-yard touchdown pass from Alex Smith.
Yeah, well, that just does get into the end zone. Otherwise, they would have had the ball out at the 40-yard line. Instead, it's the 25 where New England will start again, and we go back to the touchdown.
Well, you have to love the fact that Alex Smith had one-on-one out here to the left, but didn't like it and had the presence of mind. Let's give this offensive line credit too. That was, he had to hold the ball. You know, Alex Smith, what do we do every single game, Al, that we talk about Alex Smith? He's the one that gets it out of his hand faster than anybody. 2.3 seconds, it's out. He's a game manager. He tells us he's going to push it down the field a little more. He wasn't kidding.
He's thinking and dunking tonight. The 25-yard line, Brady throws, that's caught by White, and White for the gain of 27 yards to the 48 of Kansas City. Heck of an opener, huh?
It is, but there's also some blown coverages here. We're seeing the linebackers on that one come blitzing up and just completely dropping coverage on the outside. I think that was Daniel Sorensen, the safety, coming on the blitz, and his guy was wide open on the into the flat.
From the 49, quick flip. Hogan makes the catch. Hogan gets about 8. Ron Parker makes the tackle. I'm at Kansas City tonight. 3 drives of 90 or more yards.
Yeah.
They had only 1 last season all year.
Is that right?
Yeah. I wouldn't lie to you.
It's early.
2nd and 2, the ball at the 41-yard line. Good protection, and then the pass is too high, intended for Cooks, covered that time by Terrence Mitchell, setting up a 3rd and a deuce.
Well, and now we talk about the fact that Cassius Marsh has been here for 5 days, and he just got beat on that touchdown. On the other side of the field is Philip Dorsett, who's been here for about 3 days. And you wonder how much of this offense he could possibly know.
Traded Jacoby Brissett over there for him to Indianapolis. 32. Blitz coming. Brady gets the pass away to White. Slit move. Very close to a first down. Of course, each side thinks they're looking at it with their heart and not their eye, and it looks like where they spotted the ball, they're going to be a little bit short here. And won't we have a little bit of an interesting decision coming up here if they are short? So Vinovich calls time. They'll bring the chains in, but it looks to us they're going to be about half a yard shy. Which is about the length of the football. So Belichick looking around, wants to get the right personnel in.
You know, there are a lot of teams that Belichick has coached that he might punt the football in this situation and let his defense make a stand. But with the injuries now, and the key injury to Hightower, I can't emphasize enough what that would mean. I think that Belichick has decided we've got to go offense for offense here, because we're going to have a tough time trying to stop them with the lack of experience on the field right now for us defensively.
There's also the possibility of lining up and just trying to draw them offside. We'll see. Solder eligible. You got Devlin at fullback. You got Brady handing the ball off to Gillislee and Wu. Is this going to be close?
I don't think so.
Is this going to be right on the mark? For the moment, doesn't look like he's going to get it. Wait till they put the ball down. Going to be just about in that same spot.
Another 4th down stop for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Big. Huge.
Got to give some credit to Ramik Wilson. He took out the lead back on this thing.
Yep. If anything, he lost a little yardage.
That was some play by number 53, Ramik Wilson. Man, this building is in a state of disbelief.
12:21 left in regulation. Well, a lot of guys on that defense have made big plays tonight. How about that one by the veteran linebacker Justin Houston? So Gillislee gets stopped on 4th down. Second time that's happened tonight. Gives the Chiefs the ball at the 40-yard line. Smith. Deep down. Oh, and then Hill gets upended as the ball got there. That's Deron Harmon, the hard-hitting safety. 2nd and 10. Back to Houston's play now.
Go. Here comes Ramik Wilson right here, and Justin Houston right in here is just going to split the gap and not allow Nate Solder to push him forward. That's all it is, just mano a mano. But the play was really designed to go right behind the fullback James Devlin, but Ramik Wilson took him out, which opened it up for Justin Houston.
2nd and 10. Smith, who's thrown 4 touchdown passes tonight. Fake toss, keeps it. Gets to the 42-yard line. 3rd down.
Not really sure why Alex Smith didn't flip that ball. Had pretty good blocking out in front of it. Now for Matt Patricia, he needs a stop. And they really don't have that pass rushing threat on the field, so maybe they drop 8 here.
3rd and 8. DeAnthony Thomas flanking Smith in the backfield. 4-man rush. Smith over the middle. That's caught, but the tackle is made shy of the 50 on Kelsey, and that's Devin McCourty making a big play to force a punt.
Boy, what a play by McCourty. He had his guy out in the flat, got his head around. Here he comes running right across here. It beats his man badly. There was confusion on that side. McCourty with the presence to come over and make that stop. And that is a tough man to bring down in the open field.
Well, the Chiefs keep their offense out there for the moment. So the punt group came in for New England. Now the regular group comes back. You've got Zach Fulton, a lineman, in as a fullback. Are they just going to try to draw them offside? It looks to be the case right now. And it is. Play clock expires. Figured they would take a shot at drawing New England offside. That doesn't work. And the punting group will come in a moment.
Delay game. Offense number 11. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
Devin McCourty's really made some big plays for this Patriots defense, and he is the star power. When you look at who's left up front, you know, we're so used to the Ninkoviches, all these guys, Hightower and all these guys, even Jamie Collins, making those kinds of plays, and now you sort of sort it out and you go, who is it? Who's going to be the guy? Trey Flowers? Have to see how it unfolds this year.
So Patrick Chung goes back instead of Amendola right now to return the kick, but he will call for and make a fair catch at the 12-yard line, and we go to the field of Michelle.
Yeah, you saw Chung taking the punt. That is because Danny Amendola went back to the locker room. He was followed by the unaffiliated neurotrauma consultant, indicating that he is in the concussion protocol out. He has 2 known concussions in his history, and Amendola told me before the game he wanted to be in on every single snap of this game, partly to honor Julian Edelman, his very good friend.
Thank you, Michelle. Boy, that's big. Maybe it happened on this punt return. We'll see if we can spot something. Looks like he took a knee from Frank Zombo in the head, and the ball came loose. So they're down to Chung, who would be at the start of training camp, would have been their 4th punt returner.
Well, and maybe more importantly now, they are really limited at the wide receiver position, which is why we saw Dorsett in the game. Now, so what do you do now offensively? So the same way that defensively their hands are tied, now Josh McDaniels has that issue on the offensive side. So he's got to come out with 2 tight ends and play this style where ordinarily you would see Tom Brady want to spread it out.
Burkhead just gained 2. Malcolm Mitchell on injured reserve, so he's not available. And this is Burkhead taking it out to the 30-yard line. Rex Burkhead, 4 years in Cincinnati with the Bengals, and he picks up a first down.
Yeah, and he was a guy that averaged 4.5 yards per carry in Cincinnati. Just didn't get many opportunities. Just this old stretch zone play we talk about so much in the league right now. And wherever he feels good about it, that's where you go. Great block by Gronkowski on the edge.
Now Amendola officially ruled out of the game with what they call a head injury. So he's out. Dorsett is in. On first down, Brady's going to go deep downfield into coverage, and that's incomplete. Chris Hogan, the intended receiver, blanketed, gains covering, 2nd and 10.
Yeah, I tell you who's played a great game out here tonight for Kansas City as well as Marcus Peters. They took 1 shot at him and it had nothing. This is where I think if it goes to form, you'll see the running backs start playing a much bigger role in this offense. All of them are very good receivers. All of them have the ability to win one-on-one, and that's what the Kansas City Chiefs are giving them right now.
Well, look at the Super Bowl when White caught 14 passes. Brady dancing, finding room behind the line of scrimmage this time, but nobody open. Gronkowski deep downfield. It'll be 3rd down and 10.
Sometimes the toughest move are these ones inside for offensive linemen, and it looked like Nate Solder might lose D Ford for a minute, but he just stayed right through.
3rd and 10. KC up by 1. A little over 9 to play.
One spot they've had success is against Phillip Gaines in the slot.
Brady throws, and that is caught. No. Incomplete. Would have been short of the first down anyway. Terrence Mitchell covering Brandon Cook. So it's 4th down, and Allen comes in to make his 4th punt of the night.
Toe on the line. Yep. Good call. He would have been short anyway. And it came out.
On top of that, pretty good play. Tyreek Hill is back to return the kick. Something he loves to do. Fields at the 33-yard line and avoids a couple of tackles and gets it out to the 41-yard line. A little less than 9 to go, and KC up by a point. Take a look at this. Fewest 300-yard passing games since 1970 for guys who made 100 or more starts. Pastorini only 3. That shocked me when I saw Bradshaw out there. Terry only 4. Trent Dilfer had 5. Alex Smith 6 coming into tonight. This is his 7th. And it's funny because a lot of times guys in 300-yard passing games, they're catching up. So when you look at Smith's record in those games, he's 2-4. Will that be 2-5 or 3-4 after tonight? But 300 yards in the air. Here's Hill. And Smith will add about 10 more to that total. So he's having a big night. Completion percentage is great, 25 of 31, and Smith now 328 yards, 4 touchdowns.
And defensively now for Matt Patricia, he is definitely having to get creative at this point. We're seeing a look they used in preseason. Jordan Richards now the safety in playing the linebacker position, so you would think that Alex Smith would start running the football against that.
2nd and 1. Smith now in the pistol. Turns and hands the ball off to the rookie Hunt. Elusive. Well, he looks good to the 44-yard line. Got by Gilmore. And Hunt now 12 carries for 78 yards, averaging 6.5 per tote.
Yeah, he's got a little stiff arm to him too, doesn't he? Look at that. Right to the face mask there of Lawrence Guy. But Al, that's what we saw in college too. 98 times he forced missed tackles a season ago. And Dalvin Cook, that got drafted by the Minnesota Vikings, those were 1-2 in college football, both with 98 forced missed tackles.
Hunt. 94 receiving yards, of course 78 came on that one play. 1st down. We'll swing to the outside. Hunt. Tell you, this crowd is shot. We started the night. They were raucous. They were crazy. Roger Goodell shows up on the field before the game. They boo him like crazy for about a minute, but much ado about nothing. You know, the commissioner said he was going to show up, and he knew that Whitey Bulger was no longer on the lam, so no problem.
Now Tyreek Hill, it definitely has a little something going here. I thought on that punt return he did a little something. He kind of limped off the field. I didn't think much of it at the time, but clearly that is a factor.
2nd and 6 at the 40-yard line. And Smith throws and opens Conley. He's been quiet tonight until now. 1st down at the 15-yard line. Only his 2nd catch of the night.
Alex Smith has just been afforded unbelievable protection so far in this game. 3-man rush again, so it's pretty easy, but watch the throws he's making. On the 2 deep throws, so often it's easy to try and, when a guy's wide open, just be careful and underthrow him a little bit. Alex Smith has been dead aggressive tonight and right on the money.
So Hill on the sideline. West is in the game in the backfield. Play clock at 3. Smith rolls away, and then the pass gets deflected. So it's 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, and it was interesting talking to Andy Reid. I asked him, what did he take from the Super Bowl, from watching the Super Bowl? And he said, number 1, never take your foot off of these guys if you get them down at all, because Tom Brady is capable of doing anything. And you've seen on this drive, he has been very aggressive, as Bill Belichick sort of looks like one of those managers in the 14th inning of a baseball game, trying to figure out who's left on the roster that he can hit.
Meanwhile, they're working on Hill on the sideline. You can see him being attended to for the moment. 2nd and 10. Smith throws, and that's caught inside the 10-yard line, and Albert Wilson takes it to the 4. So 8 different guys have caught Smith's passes tonight. 28 out of 35.
And they're being forced to stay with this 3-man rush. And Trey Flowers got a little pressure, but there you see some of the mobility of Alex Smith coming into play. And you just wonder how many play calls on that sheet Matt Patricia can call right now, with this group of guys in there that he clearly could not have been anticipating this was going to be his defense in the 4th quarter.
1st and goal from the 4. Taking as much off the clock as they can now. Smith calls a timeout with 5:19. You know, Chris, you think about Kansas City, people forget how good they were last year. They started out 2-2. They had great comebacks early in the season against San Diego and then midseason against Carolina. But this is a team that lost 2 regular season games and the playoff game, each of them by 2 points.
Yeah, and you think about, they lost the playoff game to Pittsburgh without giving up a touchdown. There's 6 field goals in that game. So this is a team that has earned its way into this spotlight. They're going to be on national television a lot this season. I talked about it at the beginning of the show. They're kind of counterpunchers, you know, that you make a big play and then all of a sudden they look terrible, and then here they go and they take a shot and they get something going. But we have not seen Alex Smith maybe other than a playoff game or two that I've seen him have some big days. This is as well as I've seen him play.
80% completion, 368 through the air, 1st and goal. Out of the gun, little toss, Hunt tries to get into the end zone close, and they rule it a touchdown. Of course, to reviewed, does he cross the plane?
He lost it, but after he crossed the goal line.
At least that's the call on the field.
Let's take a look. He's going to extend the ball. Good stiff arm again to give him a chance, and plays over right there.
Across the plane, they review it. Should uphold it. I mean,
it's crazy, isn't it?
The storylines in this game are amazing.
And one more now. Tyreek Hill going off the other direction towards the locker room, limping off. And we have a star is born in Kareem Hunt. There's Tyreek Hill there, and you can see he is uncomfortable.
The only good news for Kansas City would be with the game on Thursday. They don't have another game until a week from Sunday, so they do have the 10 days off when they meet Philadelphia at Arrowhead. Santos to make it an 8-point game, and he does. 456 total yards tonight for the Kansas City Chiefs, who lead 35-27 in Foxborough. Have a look at that. Kareem Hunt, whose night started and career started with a fumble. Third player with 3 or more TDs, 180 scrimmage yards, NFL debut. Hugh Taylor played with the Redskins in the Sammy Ball years. Billy Sims with Detroit, the only other guys. And the Patriots will begin this next drive from the 25. So week 1 in the NFL. Good schedule, good slate Sunday. There are the games. Raiders will be at the Titans. Good luck to our friend Tony Romo working with Jim Nantz in that one. Steelers at the Browns, Eagles and the Redskins, Falcons, Bears in Chicago. We'll see the Falcons week 2 on Sunday night. Those are the 1 o'clock games coming your way. And then Sunday night we will, of course, have the Giants and the Cowboys. From the 25-yard line, Tom Brady. Out of the gun with the empty backfield. Collapsing around him and swallowed up by Justin Houston. So Houston had a big play on the last drive. Big sack here, knocking him down, and that's the first sack of the night for the Chiefs.
Going after the guy I talked about early on, Marcus Cannon. And for Justin Houston, that's what we've seen him do a lot.
Well, here's what they don't want to see, and you'll see it in a second. Eric Berry is down on the field. So he's had a tremendous night, one of the best, obviously, in the league. Just signed a long-term rich contract, and we go to Michelle.
Well, the update on Tyreek Hill is that he has cramps in that right thigh. He is probable to return, so that's the good news, and we'll see what's up with Eric Berry, Al.
Yeah, that's the deal right now. There he is. He's had a big night.
I tell you, Al, the one thing that nobody talks about enough in these opening games is you don't play. You know, in preseason, you play a half at most, and then you get out here in these games, and this is uncharted territory here.
So Berry's on Gronkowski. You know, you don't know, is it a cramp? Is it the turf monster? I mean, that's how Edelman got hurt in Detroit on a non-contact play. Just caught his leg in the turf. So the crowd really still at the moment with a 2nd down and 17 when play resumes. Of course, Eric Berry, the story well known about conquering lymphoma, came back. I mean, his life appeared to be in jeopardy, and he's in Atlanta, thought he was going to die, made it back, comeback player of the year, and they're still working on him with a little less than 5 to play here. On the right, Brett Veach is the general manager of the Kansas City Chiefs, and he's got a situation now he has to think about because they've taken Eric Berry to the locker room on a cart. So that's bad news, obviously, for Kansas City. Get the extent of it from Michelle shortly. Eric Murray, number 21, you just saw him. Second-year safety out of Minnesota comes in. Barry's been covering Gronkowski tonight. So will Tom go that way now? And he gets hit from behind as he throws. He goes deep downfield. Contact there, but all incidental, no flag. Brady just barely got it away. It'll be 3rd down and 17. Michelle, what do you know?
Well, it is an Achilles injury for Eric Berry, and he will not return tonight. So that being carted off was indeed not a good sign, guys.
That's a real bad sign because they stood him up when we were in the commercial break. But Chris, as you said during the break, you don't take a guy off in a cart with a cramp.
Yeah, when you saw him flexing that heel, I was afraid of that.
3rd and 17. Brady going deep downfield and is broken up. What a play by Terrence Mitchell. Intended for Cooks. 4th and 17. So Brady goes deep twice on 2nd and long and 3rd and long and can't connect.
Watch Mitchell on the outside. He looks like he's beaten. It's a good throw. Goes up over the top and waves and misses with the first arm and then strips down with this. That's unbelievable.
Great play.
What a play.
And Ryan Allen gets the kick away. You've got the Anthony Thomas to run it back. Fields at the 29. Gets around the corner. Turns it into a nice little run back all the way out to the 47-yard line with 4:15. And a flag is down back at the 30. Already 14 accepted penalties against Kansas City tonight. It's normally in a place where you're going to get illegal contact.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Receiving team number 51. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. 1st down.
Frank Zombo. Costly night for both teams. Hightower out with a knee. Amendola with a head injury. He's out. And now we'll have to find out about Berry. Not good.
You know.
And now they're looking at Peters. They're all pro corner rubbing his calf. So more of attrition here on opening night in New England. On a cool night, basically 60 degrees right now. No wind.
You're so afraid to play these guys because you don't want to get them hurt in preseason. And yet opening day, opening night, and it's going to be worse on Sunday because you're going to have to deal a lot more with the heat.
So New England in a situation where they will start to think about taking their timeouts on defense. They have 3 plus the 2-minute warning. Here goes the rookie Hunt.
Look out.
And Hunt down the sideline. Kareem Hunt being chased, and he will get forced out of bounds by McCourty, who saves the touchdown. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. The guy who never fumbled at Toledo, never. Fumbles in his first carry, and then he's off to the races the rest of the night. 140 rushing yards on 14 attempts.
Watch these tight ends blocking on the edge out here. They down, and around, and then a great block on the outside by Kelsey to get the edge. And what kind of debut for Kareem Hunt? Here comes Kelsey out in front, in space. We talked about it earlier. Got Malcolm Butler on the ground, gives you the fist up sign, and there you go.
From the 21 now. Handoff to West. Wow. And West breaks free into the end zone. He goes for a touchdown. Charkandrick West ripping through the New England D. And that's 535 yards tonight against Matt Patricia's defense.
It is not a defense right now, and that's the problem. They have a lot of different moving parts, and there's just confusion. Brian Witzman able to get a great block in there on the inside on Van Noy, and it is back-to-back runs like that against the New England Patriots, followed by all these long passes. This is not New England's defense.
Not even close as Santos gets ready to make it a 14-point game.
Remember what Kansas City did to him in Kansas City?
Absolutely. Well, that was in 2014. They killed him on a Monday night to send the Patriots to a 2-2 record. Meanwhile, We'll finish that in a second as we go back to the replay here of West.
Yeah, watch Morris and Witzman here. Get Witzman up here on the second level on Van Noy and get him. And once they had that, there was nobody left in there. I mean, this is, for the New England Patriots, you always hear about do your job, right? And for a defense, that means you have this gap and you have this gap and you have this responsibility and you have this responsibility. But when Dante Hightower gets hurt and people are getting moved around, they don't know. They've got different. Cassius Marsh is in for 5 days. They don't know this defense yet.
Bill Belichick has been a head coach now. This is his 23rd year, 5 in Cleveland, his 18th year. This is the most yardage against a Belichick team coach ever. And tied for the most points he's allowed. And
people
we still have 4 minutes to play. It may not be done yet.
People in Atlanta will tell you it is not over.
Yep. Goal line, Dion Lewis. And he gets smothered at the 15-yard line. They are full of life. These Chiefs are going to come in here and, well, 3:56 to go, and they come out with a victory. Wouldn't that be something? Hunt.
There he goes, fumble on the very first carry of his career, and from that moment on, he has been inspired. Catching the ball, running the ball, dragging people into the end zone. Some debut for the rookie Kareem Hunt.
From the 14-yard line, Brady now trying to get something going in a hurry, and instead they knock him down at the 5-yard line. You know,
that was an indirect knockout.
Remember the game in 2014? I think it was week 4. It was a Monday night game in Kansas City, and the Chiefs destroyed the Patriots. So we get here the next week for a Sunday night game against Cincinnati, and they're going crazy. And Brady almost gets sacked in the end zone, and if he does,
remember,
Justin Houston, the ball has to come out through past the goal line.
Has to be completely out of the end zone. So if one tip of that ball is on the line as he goes down, boy, Justin Houston's starting to look an awful lot like Justin Houston again.
So Kansas City now with 3 sacks. I think they've all come in this quarter. 3rd and 24. Brady dumps one on the ground. So Chris, talking about that game in 14, they get killed. We come into New England. The papers are going crazy. Talk radio is going wild. And what are they talking about? Brady may be finished. Let's give Garoppolo a chance. Belichick's lost his magic. You remember?
Yeah. And what was the one? It's like, can we trust Belichick anymore? Something. There were like some crazy headlines.
It was wild. And that's the game in which, after the game, in the press conference, that's when Belichick kept saying, we're on to Cincinnati. We're on to Cincinnati. We come in here on a Sunday night game the following week, and they destroyed the Bengals.
Still applies to me.
Ryan Allen with a punt out of bounds at about the 45-yard line. Yeah, here were some of the headlines when we came in that week, and you talk about the sky falling, down and out, bad to worse. No win. Brady can't turn it around without support. Crossroads. So getting harder to trust Bill. Yeah, okay. Even Tom's doubt showing. So what happened at the end of that year? They won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They've only won 2 Super Bowls since then.
Well, I always think that for this organization, they set their roster, they figure out who's going to play where, who's going to do what in September. They coach them up, and then they roll. This is a long way from over for the New England Patriots.
This is Hunt again. But you know what may be over very shortly? All the talk about a perfect season. Think about that. It took about 3.5 hours.
You never know. They might start it for Kansas City now.
Alex Smith, meanwhile, a night of nights.
Come in on the road. All the conversations about the guy they drafted to replace you, and you pitched nearly a perfect game. For Alex Smith, this is what I like the best. He did not take anything off that throw. He wanted the touchdown out of it. Same thing with this one to Hunt. Right on the button. Allowed the catch and the run and the celebration. good for you, Alex Smith.
Well, New England took a timeout. Will Hunt add to his total? Yes, he will. Gets a couple. New England figures to take its second timeout here, and they do. It's 145 yards on the ground, 98 in receptions tonight for Hunt. So that's 243 yards from scrimmage.
I'll tell you, I can remember when I played for the Bengals, and one year they drafted a wide receiver, Eddie Brown. I said, oh, that's great. That's fantastic. It balanced things out, you know, whatever. Next year they drafted another wide receiver in the first round, Tim McGee, and I was like, wait a minute now, this isn't so good. And I think for Alex Smith, he kind of had one of those moments too. It's like, okay, I've already gone through this with Colin Kaepernick and company in San Francisco, and now you're drafting this guy basically telling me you don't want me to do it, and a guy that throws it down the field. You want throws down the field, I give them to you.
3rd and 5 and a whistle before the snap. Too many men on the field, I think, for New England.
I mean,
well,
12 men. Defense. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
There's just not that natural leader in the middle of this defense that we're so used to seeing. Gerard Mayo over the years, Hightower, you know, we've seen really strong figures in there, and right now they're still trying to figure out what that is.
3rd and 1, and that's going to be a 1st down, and that's going to take a good part of the clock away as Kareem Hunt, the full workload tonight. 17 carries, 5 receptions. And that makes it a 1st down. That's going to take us to the 2-minute warning. And this place has emptied out. You don't see that very often. The only time you ever see it is when they're routing the opposition. Different story tonight. 2 minutes left. Kansas City 42, New England 27.
You know, and give a little credit to Andy Reid here as well for what happened tonight. You know, even though they drafted Patrick Mahomes, they still, from day one, they never wavered. Alex Smith is our quarterback. I know Mahomes is playing well in preseason. Alex Smith is our quarterback, and that meant a lot to Alex Smith. And he appreciated the fact that it was like, hey, and what he said to us is everybody knows what's going on. You know, I've had plenty of conversations with Patrick Mahomes about this is what it's going to be, and there'll be a transition. But when that transition takes place, that'll be the question, especially if Alex Smith is playing like this.
Early victory formation. You know, among the things, I mean, you lose Spencer Ware. We talked about that, which gave Hunt the chance. Dave Taub, the great special teams coach, congratulating a couple of his guys on the sideline. They got rid of the one really deep threat they had last year, Jeremy Maclin. You know, he's the one guy that could send downfield, and everybody thought, oh, it's the same dink and dunk stuff that they run the West Coast and all of that. But Alex Smith morphed into something else tonight. Kansas City Chiefs coming in. This was a pretty stunning upset.
Boy, there's some good news with that guy right there, though. When Justin Houston is right, what do you have, 20 sacks a couple of years ago?
22.
And then 22 sacks, and then he has been in and out of the lineup, injuries, tried to come back last year. He is a difference maker, and we, not just the sacks, but the way he played the edge on some of those run plays out there, he's a difference maker.
Well, that will wrap it up as the clock will expire for Tom Brady. 16 of 36 for 267 tonight. No touchdowns, no picks. Gronkowski caught only 2. Great mutual respect between those guys. Coached a few games in their times. And for Alex Smith, 80%. 80%, yeah. 368 yards, 4 touchdowns. No interceptions, and 537 yards of offense for the Chiefs.